Hello, folks, and welcome into Day 4 of NBA Free Agency. I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is Harrison Graham. We're going to break down all the latest news, the rumors, the signings, everything you guys want to know about NBA Free Agency. Of course, we're not dumb. We know what everyone wants to know. It's what we're all still waiting to learn. That's what's going to happen with Kawhi Leonard. Harrison, what is the latest right now around him?
Yeah, Day 4 of Kawhi Watch, not just of the rest of NBA free agency. Look, he's keeping a very tight circle. There's no doubt about that. Yesterday, it seemed like the Lakers had all the momentum. Now, nobody knows. Woj doesn't have any inside info. Windhorst, Shams, Stein, none of these guys have any idea what this guy is going to do, which means there's no consensus on who's the favorite to get him. Of course, Toronto did get the last meeting with him. I'm not sure if he's set to meet more with the Raptors today.
Allegedly was today, or yesterday was that meeting.
Yeah, so I think now it's just wait and see mode. So what is Kawhi going to do? And I have no idea, Tom. I think it's anybody's game at this point.
Look, no one knows what's going to happen with Kawhi. So those of you in the comments putting up fake stories in there, be careful. The associate people here might ban you at some point there. I will say this, Kawhi, he's actually following the rules, and it kind of bothers me here. Like, he's the only one out there in NBA free agency who is choosing to say, you know what, I'm going to follow the rules, I'm going to take my time. I'm not going to start my meetings until free agency begins. It's like he's programmed.
Very on brand, by the way, there, Tom.
Yeah,
just keeping it under the radar, taking his time. And let's remember, folks, too, his season ended 2 weeks ago. Like, the Kevin Durant's of the world, Durant had more time. Some of these other guys didn't even make the playoffs. They've signed. Not a lot of time for him to process what exactly he wanted to do because he's coming off winning a title with that historic run with the Raptors, of course. And I think when you win a title, too, and you're the face of that, you take about a week to kind of celebrate and recompress that. So he's really only focused on free agency probably the last week or so. So he's still early in his process, and we'll see if today is that day that we get some clarity on where Kawhi Leonard ends up.
At this point, I'll just sit around waiting for Kawhi to make a decision. I would not be surprised if it ends up being July 4th.
I said that yesterday. Speaking of on brand, July 4th at about 9 o'clock at night while everybody's out enjoying their drinks, watching some fireworks, eating some barbecue, that would be a very Kawhi Leonard type of move as we await his decision.
So there are only 3 teams here in the mix to land Kawhi. That is the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Raptors. Both LA teams, really the only team out there with a true $32 million max contract. There are some other teams that could make the money if they needed, but those are the 2 that actually have it right now. And Toronto, of course, have the bird rights for Kawhi. Therefore, they can go over the cap to re-sign him.
Yeah, and of course, both LA teams pretty much all in on Kawhi at this point, especially in the Lakers, since they only have 5 or 6 bodies currently on their roster. They did add Jared Dudley yesterday, but it's Kawhi or bust for the Lakers and the Clippers, especially in the Lakers, since, and of course, Toronto, they want to keep him. If they don't, hey, he got him a title. It was a great run. I don't think they're going to be super upset, but obviously they want to bring him back as well.
All right, folks, so predict the time and date of the Kawhi announcement. Many of you who already emailed us, you're incorrect, but we'll let you, I guess, maybe do it again. Why not?
Yeah, look, it's got to be the right day to the exact minute.
Eastern, at least qualify your time zone, by the way, because if you just put in 6 o'clock, you can't cheat and say, I meant 6 Central when you really meant 6 Eastern.
I meant 6 in Eastern Europe. No, you got to clarify which time zone you're talking about. So go to Kawhi at chatsports.com, enter that exact time and date, and you'll win a prize from us.
All right, folks. So again, that's email at Kawhi at chatsports.com. That is Kawhi's burner account, by the way. Don't tell anybody. We won't tell anyone. I guess I kind of blew that, didn't I?
I think you
Oops.
did blow that.
Sorry, Kawhi.
That's fake news, not Kawhi's burner account, as Tom stumbled through that one. I think we got to get to these team pitches, by the way.
Yeah, so we'll start with the defending champions, the Toronto Raptors. What's the pitch here?
Okay, the pitch is simple, right? You're the king of Canada if you already, and you really cement that if you go back to Toronto and you run it back. Look, they got a lot of guys in the last year of their deal. Veterans, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol opted in. You got a rising player in Pascal Siakam. I think with KD sitting this year out in Brooklyn, the really only big threat in the East is Milwaukee right now. So you've got a very good chance of getting back to the finals. And then you can hit free agency again next year if you're Kawhi in a very weak free agency pool. So to me, that's kind of the pitch if you're Toronto to try and keep Kawhi Leonard.
You didn't include Drake on here.
True.
For on purpose or not on purpose?
I'm not sure. Drake is a big pitch if you're Kawhi. I know he's
not.
trying
It's totally
to recruit him, but yes, Drake, of course, is trying to keep his boy.
With the dip there. Yeah?
I'm not a Drake guy, man.
I know you're not.
I'll be honest. I can't do Drake. I just can't. To me, that hurts their chances of getting Kawhi, getting Drake involved in the act. I'm just not in on Drake and the Raptors, but he is certainly trying to be a part of this thing.
All right, so who's the king of Canada? Type D for Drake, K for Kawhi. Feel free to throw in other people in there as well.
Kawhi. It's not
Kawhi?
Drake.
Trick question.
Anti-Drake
it's
guy.
actually going to be Prince Charles soon. You think I'm kidding? I'm not, though. When Queen Elizabeth dies, technically speaking, Prince Charles becomes the king of Canada.
Who's your favorite Prince? Fielder?
Just Prince.
Just Prince? True.
Just Prince.
Prince is hard to beat. So, yeah, type D for Drake, type K for Kawhi in the comments section.
Yeah. All right, so what's your favorite Drake song there? Also, shout out Harul, who said Justin Bieber was the king of Canada.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one there. Well, I am anti-Drake guy. His Take Care album is pretty good. Pretty good stuff there. So I'll go Headlines on that album. That's a good one there.
That's a
Mitch
good choice.
shaking his head back there. I think that's a good one.
That's
I'll
a good
go
choice.
Pretty up-tempo there. I'll go Headlines.
Stanky Pineapple Pro says Marvin's Room because he's a sad boy.
What are you, a Hornets fan?
Oh, savage.
Knicks,
there.
maybe?
Headlines is in there. I see nonstop. All right, that's some good ones here. All right, folks, let's move to the potential lineup for Toronto with Kawhi. Look, just roll it back. Maybe you bring back Danny Green, too, as well.
Yeah, right now you pencil in Norman Powell. Of course, Green may or may not be waiting on Kawhi's decision at this point, but very similar lineup, very similar bench. In a lot of ways, they're trying to bring back that exact core. You'd have Anunoby this year, who's back and healthy. So, again, I think this roster would compete and be the favorites to beat in the favorites in the East to get back to the finals next year.
Roll it back one more year, you remain in really, really good shape. Of course, the Raptors, Lakers, Clippers, those are the three teams still waiting on Kawhi to make his decision. There are other pieces like a Marcus Morris, like a Danny Green, who are still in the mix there as well. You put this one, Harris, here. What's your favorite extinct dinosaur? Now, my first question to you is, why'd you clarify with extinct?
They're all extinct,
They're all dead. So you don't, that's like saying, what's your favorite dinosaur? Like, it's the extinct dinosaur are the same.
They might be coming back. You never know.
Look, Jurassic Park I would love to have happen. That's not how it works.
You would love to have it happen?
Yes, I want a pet velociraptor. That is the correct answer, by the way. Velociraptor.
You're not a pterodactyl guy?
Well, let me clarify here.
Flying dinosaurs.
First off, it's pronounced pterodactyl, sir. I know how to read.
The P is not silent.
Exactly. The velociraptor from the Jurassic Park movies is my favorite, which is really the Deinonychus dinosaur.
I feel like the
velociraptor sounds cool.
Tyrannosaurus Rex is just kind of the cliche answer, so I'm going to stick away there. I'm sticking with the pterodactyl. P is silent, unlike what Tom Downey is saying.
Pterodactyl. I know how to read, sir.
If you could spell pterodactyl.
I'll clarify this. You mentioned T-Rex there. I've told many of you this, but my firstborn son, I want to name him Thomas Rex Downey so I can call him T-Rex. Because tell me that kid's not going to be the most badass kid ever.
Tom, for those of you who don't know,
Tom
has a sports theory that
it's not a theory, it's a fact.
If you have a dope name, you're going to be legit in sports. That's basically...
Find me a person with an awesome name or nickname
that's ordinary.
That wasn't great at what he did. No matter what that kid does, he's going to be a success. Lawyer. No one wants to mess with the T-Rex lawyer. Football player. As long as he's not a receiver, he's going to be fantastic. Basketball player, whatever it is. Drug dealer. No one's going to mess with that guy. He's going to be a success in the end.
Well, we'll see how that works out for Tom and the Downey family. Let's get to the Lakers pitch for Kawhi Leonard. Look, I think it's simple. You get to be the face of maybe the biggest franchise in the sport. And again, that's got to be a clarification for the Lakers here. You have to sell Kawhi. Yeah, we got LeBron. We got Anthony Davis. This is your team. Kawhi doesn't want to play second fiddle to LeBron or anybody else. You got to sell him that this is his group.
I think that's the key thing for LeBron, and I think he's already laid this foundation of that by giving AD the number 23 jersey. He says, look, Kawhi, I already gave up my number to AD, man. You're going to be the focal point here. This ain't my team anymore. This is yours and Anthony Davis.
But does it ever really work out that way with LeBron?
They're going to tell him.
There's no evidence of that.
I don't know. Look, LeBron is not the same guy he was in Cleveland or Miami anymore. Playoff mode LeBron didn't get activated.
And it is fair to say, coming
year.
off a 37-win season where he missed some time with injury, maybe he has had a shift in focus and just simply wants to do what it takes to win. And getting Kawhi Leonard is a good step in doing that if you're LeBron and the Lakers.
So here's a potential lineup for the Lakers. Again, the shooting guard, we don't really know who that ends up being there. And I think LeBron really does end up playing the point guard role there.
Yeah, I mean, you could plug in Troy Daniels. They picked up Jared Dudley. I still think they'll be in the market for some other shooters. Maybe Danny Green becomes an option there. Pencil in any veteran shooter. That's what it's going to be there. And, yeah, LeBron's going to, be the primary ball handler there. Kawhi Leonard will take some of those duties as well. It looks like they won't really have a true point guard on this roster.
I do think Rondo ends up back on like a vet min deal, frankly.
Yeah, he could run that second unit, put a bunch of shooters around him, and you can kind of mix and match lineups with Kuzma running with the second team as well. So I certainly think that would be an option.
All right, folks, so this is the Lakers pitch to Kawhi there again. By the way, make sure you are subscribed. Get us to 125K. And I'm actually going to take it one step further just for like this show only. I want us to get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That could happen.
That's what
That'd
I
be
want.
Fun.
And I want that screen grab too. So somebody
We'll get producer Tad on that. He'll screen grab it. So you got to hit that subscribe button. YouTube.com/chatsportstv. We're going to be live throughout the rest of free agency. NFL season's rolling around. Tom and Mitch, and I'll probably get involved with some of that as well. Lots of good stuff we have going on here at Chat Sports.
All right. So the Clippers, their pitch meanwhile to Kawhi. What is it here, Harrison?
I think it's we get less coverage than the Lakers, and I know you don't want the spotlight all the time, so come be the face of our franchise. You don't have to have all that buzz surrounding LeBron and LA and everything that's going to happen there with Anthony Davis as well, and you pitch him on depth too. Hey, we got a ton of depth. Lakers don't. We can do some of that load management that you did in Toronto, and we'll go super deep. You don't have to play all the back-to-backs, and we'll ramp you up come playoff time, and you get to play for Doc Rivers. I think that's another part of the pitch there too, whereas the Lakers can't say that and the Raptors can't say that either.
I think the issue for LA, and this was their plan originally, was, hey, we're going to set up a scenario where you get to be paired with Jimmy Butler or Kevin Durant, and that did not happen.
Yeah, that has gone awry. So you can't sell him on a fellow superstar. So if you're Kawhi and this is the pitch from the Clippers, don't you just go back to the Raptors?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of the challenge for the Clippers. The only thing they have over a Toronto, one location, and B, maybe Doc Rivers, although Nick Nurse proved last year that he is among the higher tier among coaches in the NBA.
I will make note, though, this Clippers unit with Kawhi, it's a good squad.
Yeah, and it's very deep. I think, again, the depth is the pitch, a big part of the pitch there for the Clippers. I mean, you got the starting five there with Alexander and Pat Beverly in the backcourt. Don't forget, you got the sixth man of the year in Lou Williams. He would certainly be in there in crunch time. We'll see what happens with Gallinari. Maybe they ship him for some cap space, but he quietly averaged 20 points per game last year. So that is a team that can score in a lot of different ways.
All right, folks. So again, the latest on Kawhi. Raptors, Lakers, Clippers, they're all patiently, and maybe patience is in quotes there, waiting.
Well, you don't have a choice, especially if you're the Lakers. You have no choice at this point but to wait on what Kawhi decides to do.
All right, folks, so prediction time. What team will Kawhi Leonard sign with? Type TOR for the Raptors, LAC for the Clippers, LAL for the Lakers. What do you think?
My final thought here is I'm going to circle back to Toronto. Yesterday, I thought the Lakers had the slight edge, but I truly think nobody knows. And with them getting the last meeting, with the East being more winnable, I think he signs a short-term deal and runs it back up in Canada.
Votes are coming in. If you're typing in DAL, I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Looks like LAL, though, is the winner. So, folks, keep those votes flowing here live on YouTube. You guys, Memphis and Atlanta Hawks, Chandler Parsons, he's been dealt.
He's back
all
in
the
the
bad
news.
Contracts getting dealt this week.
Chandler Parsons, of course, who signed that 4-year, $94 million max, I guess 4 seasons ago now. RIP Memphis Grizzlies era with Chandler Parsons. Look, I mean, this makes sense really from both sides because the Hawks have made it known we're not in win now mode. We're gonna build around Trae Young. We're getting young assets, and we'll take expiring deals to get future assets and build for 2-3 years from now and really make a run. Then I like that. I like it from that standpoint for Atlanta and Memphis. Look, you just had to dump this guy, and any way you could get get rid of him. Like Atlanta, trying to go young, build around Ja Morant. So I think this makes sense for both parties.
And I'll make note in terms of the money side of things here, both of these deals, all three of these deals are expiring in Chandler Parsons, Solomon Hill, and Miles Plumlee. It ends up being that the Hawks actually save $0.2 million on this one.
Big money there.
Big money savings.
Hey, I'll
right
take
there.
$0.2 million. I don't know about you.
Solomon Hill comes in, and this actually indicates to me that maybe Memphis does buy out Andre Iguodala.
Yes,
Hill can play that backup.
Well, I definitely think that happens. The only reason they wouldn't is if they tried to make it a deadline deal and get something for him, trade him to a contender at the deadline. But if you're Memphis, go all in on building around Jackson and Ja Morant. Playing Andre Iguodala doesn't do him any good, doesn't do you and your future any good. I think he gets bought out in the end.
And then Miles Plumlee, also a part of this deal. Again, there's like 12 points per game combined with all of these players.
How many Plumlees are in the NBA, by the way?
Just two.
They're just
Mason
good
and
enough.
Miles.
I guess that third one never quite
like
quite
16
made
points,
it.
by the way.
But yeah, expiring contracts, not a surprise. You see these type of deals every offseason. Makes sense for both parties.
All right, so Hawks, this is their current lineup right now. We'll put Parsons on the bench because he's definitely not going to start for them unless something's gone terribly, terribly wrong. Lack of bigs right now at center. Boogie?
I was thinking the same thing there because you just moved on from Plumlee. Why not take a flyer on a one-year deal for DeMarcus Cousins? Look, he's going to have to play somewhere. I think that can make some sense there. Then, of course, this is what the Grizzlies lineup currently looks like as they make that trade with Atlanta.
And they've got extra bench pieces, too. Solomon Hill not even on that unit there. They kind of don't have they have a question mark shooting guard. Maybe it is Avery Bradley. I'm not really sure in the end.
I think Hill's a stretch wave candidate as well if they choose to go that route.
He's only got 1 year left on his deal, so they wouldn't even have to stretch it. They could just outright waive him there and just eat that. No, you're right. He could be a stretch wave.
You have to stretch wave if you want to save money. Otherwise, they could just waive him and eat the cap.
Other centers out there, by the way, Boban, JaVale McGee is still unsigned.
I think Boogie and JaVale are really the two guys, and after that, it's a significant fall
The
off.
GOAT, Joakim Noah, who played well for Memphis. Maybe he's not well-ish relative to expectations.
He wasn't
Zaza,
a disaster.
Type Zaza to trigger Jimmy. He's not paying attention, but type Zaza.
Did Zaza even play last year? I know that got
technically speaking, yes.
Played in a couple of games last year.
Yes.
Yeah, the center market has dried up significantly.
All right, folks. So that's the trade right there. The Memphis Grizzlies, and they get Miles Plumlee and Solomon Hill. Chandler Parsons goes to the Atlanta Hawks. Do you think there's a winner of this trade here?
No. I think this is just moving pieces around to, manipulate your roster. Nothing to really see here. Like you said, the money is not significant either way.
And so Parsons going to the Atlanta Hawks. Memphis got rid of him as they didn't want him anymore. What a terrible contract that ended up being there. Miles Plumlee, Solomon Hill, they go to the Memphis Grizzlies on that front there. That's that trade on that front there. Again, it's a noteworthy trade, but in the end, it's kind of a neutral trade here as well.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that point. How about Marcus Morris? Could the Mavericks be interested?
I think it makes some sense. Like, they have to spend money, Like, that's what they have to do here.
Yeah, I mean, Dallas, look, the almost $23 million in cap space. We know they're waiting on Danny Green. That's their number one target right now. This is the report last night that Brad Townsend confirmed that they are interested in Morris, but, quote, the Mavs have a few ahead of Morris.
So wait, who could be ahead of him?
Clearly, Danny Green's the one, but there's no one else after him unless they have a trade up their sleeve, but that doesn't really make sense to me. I think, look, piece together that $23 million and get Green and Morris. I think the money works out a little bit there. If you need a little more money, you stretch wave Courtney Lee to create up $7.5 million and get that number even higher.
All right, so again, here are the numbers last year from Marcus Morris. He still brings you, Harrison, some good value as a bench player.
Oh, absolutely. Look, he was a good starter for the Celtics for that core over the past several seasons. He's really reinvented his game over the last 3 or 4 years. He's a good three-point shooter, grabs rebounds. He mixes it up a little bit with other players on opposing teams, which I like. I think the Mavericks need some attitude and some edge to their team. I think Morris could provide some of that. So I think it would be a great fit. He's a guy that I think would be probably a six-man type of player for them and who could start in a pinch as well.
All right, so again, folks, those Mavs do have interest in Marcus Morris. What role do you think he plays in the end there?
I think he is a 25 minutes off the bench guy. Gives you 10 to 12 points, spaces the floor, can grab some rebounds. He can play the 3 and the 4 depending on certain lineups. And I think he'd be a good option for the Mavs because they can mix and match with some of those bigs. They brought back Powell. They brought back Kleba. They're kind of versatile. Can play the 4 and the 5. You got Porzingis. So I think his versatility would be a good asset for the Mavs.
So we haven't really had much discussion about Marcus Morris. I think the Mavs make sense there. Also, because he is a Clutch Sports client, you have to include the LA Lakers.
The Lakers will definitely be in the mix for Morris.
All right, the other big free agent, that is DeMarcus Cousins. How about Boogie and the Spurs? First off, I get all credit for this. This is my idea. I came up with this first. I had it first.
I got to admit, in the office, you floated this the other day. I thought it was
3 days ago.
I thought it was ridiculous, and now the report is that he has been in conversations with several players across the NBA, including DeMar DeRozan.
And I find that interesting. I want to see DeMarcus Cousins here with the San Antonio Spurs. It's weird. It's a weird fit, but I like weird in the NBA. And why not try it?
Usually this is not a player with his his personality that would make sense with a Greg Popovich type of team. But look, San Antonio could use some extra scoring. I think on the flip side of that, maybe Pop can get the best out of this guy at this point in his career.
If anybody can.
Yeah, I mean, you would think it. And when I say it like that, look, I don't think Boogie's washed. The guy just hasn't been able to stay healthy. In the 30 games he played last year for Golden State, he played pretty well. In the 2 games they won in the finals, he was a big part of that. So when he's right, he's still a plus player in the NBA, and maybe the Spurs feel like they can get the best out of him.
There are obviously other destinations than just these 3 that we'll bring up, but these are the 3 that I think make the most sense. Of course, there's now the connection with the Spurs and DeMarcus Cousins, because the Spurs have Jakob Poeltl, shout out me for saying it wrong for months there. But the Spurs make sense there for DeMarcus Cousins there because they need center help there. The Lakers, Anthony Davis reunion there.
Yeah.
They got to find bodies.
And he has said he would like the idea of playing with Boogie again. Yep. So that would certainly be a fit. And we just mentioned the Hawks.
Who also just freed up the roster spot to afford him there.
Yeah, so I think you're right at this point. It's those 3. The Golden State thing has sailed after they brought in Willie Cauley-Stein and Kevon Looney. So I think it's down to those 3 for Boogie.
All right, so would you want your team to sign Boogie? Let us know in the comments section. I say yes.
Yeah, I still – it depends on the team. But I think he's still a guy worth bringing in, especially considering what the chatter is for his market. I mean, apparently he's not even mid-level worthy at this point. So if you bring him in for $3 million, absolutely take a flyer on that.
Young OG wants to know why we don't have the Miami Heat up there. They're pretty tight on roster space as is. In fact, they literally don't have the space. They're already at.
They could do the vet men, but that's it.
They could do the vet men, that's it. And also, they are focused on Bam Adebayo. Does DeMarcus Cousins want to come in and be a backup and play 10 to 15 minutes a game?
No, I don't think so.
He's going to try and get more money
I don't like
else.
that fit. Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, folks. Richard Jefferson, you guys probably saw the tweet, but what's actually going on here, Harrison?
Well, yesterday he tweeted out that he'd like to play one more season, and it wasn't in a joking tone. I tone in air quotes because it was on Twitter, but he hopped on Golic and Wingo this morning, of course, ESPN's morning show, and said he is not unretiring, so that ship has sailed. The Lakers may have been a team that would have been interested as they try to fill out their roster, but I mean, look, he's 39 years old. This is probably for the best for him to stay retired. By the way, he would have
gone to the Heat, by the way.
And he has a bright future as a commentator in the NBA, so I think he's hanging out.
So Richard Jefferson not actually going to return to the NBA. Would have been fun. He would end up on the Lakers, by the way.
Oh, totally.
All right, so speaking of retired players, which player would you like to see come out of retirement?
Man, that's a good question.
Magic with the Lakers or Kobe with the LA Lakers.
Kobe's a good one. Dirk, too soon?
Ahmed says Kobe there.
Run it back for one more year.
MJ, I'd love to see MJ come back for one more year. He can go to the Hornets and be their best player.
Adam Morrison.
Stop it. Ray Allen, D-Wade, Kobe are the most popular ones there, by the way.
Ray Allen, D-Wade. See, Dirk and D-Wade just retired, so I'm thinking more guys who have been retired.
Chris Bosh.
Bosh is a good one.
I don't know if his medical will ever allow him to.
Enter any LeBron teammate over the last decade. Mike Miller.
I love to see that, too.
Lots of options.
Shout out the Muggsy Bogues comment, too. I always like that one.
Earl Boykin.
Okay, that works too. All right, folks, the Warriors, they've rescinded the qualifying offer on Quinn Cook. This makes him an unrestricted free agent. Nets confirmed? Vet Min to go play with his buddy KD again?
Yeah, I mean, look, it makes sense. Over 40% three-point shooter last year, and which this means, Golden State isn't going to bring him back, which does surprise me a little bit. They still got to fill out that roster. I guess they could still bring him back. I think Lakers and Nets, I like you just said, are the two teams. He did play with the Mavericks a few seasons ago. I don't think they would flirt with that idea because they already brought in Seth Curry, who's basically just a better version of Quinn Cook. So, I think any team that's contending that needs a bench shooter is going to be in the market.
At this point, I think Quinn Cook is really only going to get the vet min. Maybe he can find a team to give him the mid-level, but that seems
a
unlikely.
Little rich for him. Yeah, I think vet min this year, if he gets more playing time, it could be in play for the mid-level next year.
All right, folks, let's get Harrison to 600 followers on Twitter.
I'm struggling. I'm not even at 500. 443 is the number right there.
That's pretty shameful.
At Harrison1033. Help me out, guys.
I could on there, so
I
it makes
could
more
use
sense.
the boost there. I'm trying to be Tom Downey here. So at Harrison1033 on Twitter, that's where you can find me and all of my on-point sports takes.
We'll give some shout-outs here, by the way. Also, they're not always on point here. Let's be honest.
I think they're pretty good, Tom. I think they're pretty good. You've got the best one today, though. Boogie to the Spurs. You've been calling that for a few days.
All right, let's move to some of the recent signings then here. And then as you see him flowing there, Harrison, feel free to give shout-outs on air. Wilson Chandler to the Brooklyn Nets, a vet minimum deal here, adding some extra depth on that roster.
Yeah, we know we still got that Clippers logo for you guys, so we'll make sure we get that changed. But he will be – it makes sense here, right? Because KD is going to miss this season, so they need positional at that position. He can play the 3, he can play the stretch 4 a little bit. If he, look, with Durant sitting out, Chandler, look, his best days are behind him. He signed that massive deal a few years ago.
Got the bag.
Yeah, got the bag. He's looking to probably play for contenders at this point. I think it makes sense for both parties.
All right, next up, Emmanuel Mudiay going to the Utah Jazz, that's where he wanted to be. When the money kind of dried up in the open market, his camp wanted to put him in Utah because they think he'll develop better there.
Yeah, and shout out Jesus for giving me a follow there. Look, this makes sense, and I actually didn't realize this. Multiple reporters have come out and said that the Jazz have one of the best player development programs in the NBA, and Mudiay liked the idea of that once the market started to dry out. So you put him in Utah behind veterans like Mike Conley, behind a veteran team trying to contend. We know Mudiay can score. If he can improve his craft a little bit, I think that makes some sense there. Gives them some punch off the bench too as well.
All right, Utah also picked up Jeff Green as they continue to find nice fits off the bench. I'm a big fan of what Utah's done this offseason.
Yeah, and D. Wade made a good point on Twitter. Why does Jeff Green keep only getting minimum contracts? Like, laugh all you want, the guy still gets it done. Over 12 points per game last year, shot 47% from the floor a year ago. He's improved as a three-point shooter. I think he's a great vet off their bench.
Wade said he wasn't old, but Jeff Green is going to turn 33, so
he's not old, but he's
old.
He's not young by any means. He's been around for a while.
All right, so here's the Jazz current squad. Look, it's good. I was a little worried about how Bojan fits as a 4, but with Ed Davis in there, Jeff Green in there now, you're bringing Emmanuel Mudiay. I guess in theory you still have Dante Exum, who they believe in, I guess.
Yeah, and look, the Bogdanovic, he's not going to defend much. He's undersized at guarding 4s, but that's why you have Rudy Gobert, right?
Defense.
The best ultimate rim protector in the NBA, and they needed shooting, so that's why they go get a Bogdanovic. You add good bench pieces in Mudiay and Jeff Green. Look, this is a squad that's going to go 10-11 deep. I mean, this is a good roster in the Western Conference.
Gobert might not be able to shoot, but the rest of that lineup pretty much can.
Yeah, Ingles, Mitchell, Conley's a good shooter. That's a good squad right
Jazz are going to be very, very good next year, but are they going to be a legitimate title contender next year?
I think they are and for next year because, look, the Nets I still think are going to be a year away because Durant's not going to play next year, I don't believe. Golden State with Klay Thompson coming off the ACL, even if he comes back, it's going to be challenging for them, just to stay in the playoff race until then. I think there's an opportunity for teams to make a run this year, and I think Utah is one of those squads.
All right, the LA Lakers, they've also added somebody. Jared Dudley, this came in late last night when we were at the end of our show. They're a 1-year, $2.6 million deal. The bench continues to get filled out.
Yeah, and look, the Lakers kind of let some of the middle-tier secondary guys go as they wait on Kawhi Leonard. So now they can really only do minimum contracts right now while they wait for Kawhi to make his decision. Dudley's a good candidate for that. Still can make an open three-point shooter. Good veteran. He's been around for a while. Certainly is not, a huge plus at this point in his career, but he's one of those glue guys. He provided good leadership for the Nets last year.
I guess Mitch did this one. Says name ideas for Tom's first son. I'm sure you guys all have great ideas and not fake ones. For what it's worth,
not T-Rex?
For what it's worth, my wife will not let me do that. She says no.
Is she more just
son, Timothy Rex.
the conservative route?
Well, she doesn't want the son to be named T-Rex.
Zaza.
I don't know.
Zaza's in the chat.
I don't know if that's
if we get 1,000 Zazas per minute, Tom will name his first son Zaza.
Yeah,
you heard it here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Keep the Zazas
I'm sure
flying.
You guys won't make me divorce my wife at that point. Everyone says Zaza and Taco. That's the only answers coming in. Tell you what, I will text my wife right now and ask her how she feels about our first son being named Zaza or Taco, and we'll come back to it later on in the show.
Shout out, Twitter follow shoutouts by the way. Kalan Rennick, Ethan Rian G, BR Longhorn and Yang all giving me follows. Appreciate that, guys. At Harrison1033 on Twitter. Tom is at What Going Down, and give us a follow. You can find what we're doing over there. But keep the names flying in for Tom's first son. More Clippers news. They bolster their roster a little bit more as they await for Kawhi as well. Rodney McGruder, 3 years, $15 million.
She has been texted. Also, I ignored a previous question from her, so this is not going to go over well. McGruder got the bag here in the end. How about that?
Yeah, look, probably a little overpaid here, but excellent defender, can guard both guards and wing players. Pretty good three-point shooter. His number went down last year, 35-ish% range, but good bench piece in today's NBA, can really defend. I like the Clippers' defensive pieces they have.
I'll make note on Magruder's side of things. This deal will not be signed until Kawhi figures stuff out or the Clippers make other moves. They can just keep their cap hold, and then they don't have to all of a sudden go over the cap together.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. Magruder going out west to the Clippers.
All right, other final deal here today, at least so far. Darius Miller to the Pelicans on a 2-year, $14.25 million deal.
Yeah, and while that sounds rich, side note here, Bobby Marks had this on Twitter. They had to make it a 2-year deal because New Orleans is using the early bird provision to sign him. And so basically it's a cap deal where you give him 2 years and it manipulates the cap. That's why Miller gets that second year there. But, yeah, the second year not being guaranteed as well. So it's really more of a 1-and-1 type of contract for Miller there. But they bring him back on a 2-year deal to New Orleans.
All right, folks, that's all the latest NBA signings here on day 4 of NBA Free. All right, folks, use hashtag NBA to get your questions on the show. We'll bring some up here. Make sure you're using hashtag NBA. Makes it a lot easier for producer Tad to find them here. First up from Suzanne Hansen, if you have to bet on a comeback from a retired player, what player would it be?
Oh, man. If I had to bet on one?
D-Wade.
Yeah, D-Wade. Like, if mid-season, it sounds crazy, if mid-season the Lakers,
Sorry,
someone gets hurt, LeBron calls his buddy up, I could see it.
Yeah, my wife texted me back, by the way, in response to Zaza or Taco being the first name here. The question was, her response was the Tom. Although she didn't say Tom, she just said the F word. Was her only response to that one. So, not
not going to happen. Zaza will not be the name of Tom's first son.
Yeah, so that's a big no there, guys. All right, Jace Klein wants to know Bradley Beal to OKC with what assets?
Yeah, I mean, unless Washington wants to take Steven Adams' bad contract, yeah, it would be a fun fit. They need shooting next to Russell Westbrook, but pretty unrealistic there.
All right, Mersal Darwish wants to know Kyle Lowry or Mike Conley?
Man, I mean, this was a simple question before this playoff run.
It's still simple for me, actually.
I'll still go Conley.
Yep.
More consistent shooter. But Lowry, I think the Lowry jokes are at least over. He's gotten that off his back.
All right, Ivan Wiggin, Are the Pelicans a playoff contender?
Absolutely.
I think so.
I think the West is 12 deep, and they're one of those 12.
Yeah.
I think fun young core. If I had to pick today, I would have them as one of my 8. I think they're a playoff team.
All right, folks, type S if you guys are already subscribed here to us on YouTube. We're getting to 125K. That is the upcoming number. Almost 4,000 of you guys watching us live right now. So make sure you are subscribed. Let me check the numbers here, by the way. And Harrison, give some shout-outs in the meantime here as they roll in.
Yeah, absolutely. Zaza with the S with the subscribe. The Nad, we got JJ with the S. Your Daily with the S. Too fast, it's going. Chris with the S. We got Black Plug with the S. Multiple black plugs with the S. Probably the same guy. Thomas with the S. Ben with the S. Keep those coming in. Subscribe, tell a friend. YouTube.com/chatsportstv.
At 123,223. So we're getting closer to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that I desperately want a screenshot of.
Yeah,
so.
Subscribes continue to fly in there in the chat.
All right, more hashtag NBA questions coming in. Anson wants to know about Danny Green coming off the bench for the Suns.
I mean, Phoenix would love that, but Danny Green's playing for contenders at this point in his career.
And also for money, which the Suns don't have anymore.
Yeah, look, it's pretty simple for Danny Green. It's wherever Kawhi goes, the Mavs or one of the LA teams. I mean, that's really what you're looking at here. So it's one of 3 or 4 teams for Danny Green.
All right, Sports Perfect says, are KD and Kyrie better than AD and LeBron?
I got to see Durant play after the Achilles. I mean, I think he'll still be really, really good. Do I think he'll be peak Durant? Probably not. I'll take LeBron and Anthony Davis there.
Yeah, I am as well. I think that AD and LeBron make a more sense there. All right, next up, how about DeMarcus Cousins to the Mavs?
I think they should flirt with the idea. I don't love the fit, and the Mavs have actually shot that down according to the latest report, so it doesn't appear that there's interest there.
All right, folks, we're going to keep using hashtag NBA. We'll get back to more of those questions here in a little bit. Relates to DeMarcus Cousins, which we just had that question on. You mentioned it, Harrison. The Mavs don't have interest in him.
Yeah, and look, the report is that there has not been discussions. They are not interested in Cousins. Look, we don't know what his market is. Adrian Wojnarowski said there's basically no market. He's not even in play for a mid-level. I think that could change if the Lakers don't get Kawhi. Maybe they raise the price for Cousins there. But yeah, it doesn't appear that the Mavericks are in play for Boogie, at least as we sit right now.
They did give Dwight Powell an extension on there along with Matt Maxey-Kleber. So it doesn't seem to be happening. I think it'd be a fun idea. I'm intrigued by it. I know he's one of the biggest names out there. If I were Dallas, I would explore it. I think you would too.
It's definitely worth exploring. I doubt the fit because if they're going to start a center next to Porzingis, it needs to be more of a traditional center. Boogie's not really that. He's kind of a floor spacer at this point, a facilitator as a center. I'm sure Rick Carlisle could make it work. After bringing back Powell and Kleber, that center position and /4 position gets pretty crowded there. Somebody's minutes are getting eaten into, and when you commit over $9 million per year for both Kleber and Powell, I'm not sure it makes a ton of sense.
And I don't agree with it, but I think the Mavs are very concerned about surrounding Luka with the, as I'll borrow
proper
the
personalities.
Cowboys, yeah, the RKGs, and that's why they didn't want D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
That's why they're not interested in DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point as well.
All right, folks. So, again, if you want Boogie in Dallas, don't get your hopes up. That seems unlikely. So, which team will sign him?
If you had to ask me right now,
still going Spurs, baby.
I still think it's the Lakers, but the Spurs have emerged as that other team, it appears.
Well, the only team linked to him, frankly.
Yeah, so again, the market's not there. So, I mean, any team could throw the vet men and have a chance at him potentially. I will say the Lakers, though. Keep those comments flying in, though. We want to hear from you guys. Some Celtics flying in. Got some Lakers.
Miami, which I wouldn't mind. I just don't think the Heat
I don't
want
think
that.
they're interested.
Yeah. Warriors, I think that one's dead in the water there.
Celtics could be interesting. We haven't talked about them. They lost Al Horford.
Well, once they signed Cantor and they signed 2 other bigs as well, a couple overseas guys, I don't think they go that route.
Probably not.
Plus, T-word, so they're fine. All right, Mavs, how about could Marcus Morris be a fit for them?
I think so. I think, as much as Boogie would be fun, I think Morris actually makes more sense because you have him come off your bench, and he's a versatile wing/big that can play the 3, can play the 4, is really improved as a three-point shooter. And look, when people talk about the Boston Celtics core the last few years, Marcus Morris doesn't get enough love. He was a glue guy for them.
Oh, he's a good kind of a 3-4 hybrid type player.
Yeah.
And I think he is waiting to see where Kawhi ends up going. I'll make note, the report that came along with Marcus Morris's interest was that the Mavs had a few ahead. If it's not Boogie, well, who are the few?
Yeah, I think Danny Green is one. I mean, clearly the Mavericks are waiting to see what happens with Danny Green, but outside of him, look, the free agent pool has dried up significantly. Maybe they're talking about a trade that we don't know about, but I don't think you can put a few free agents ahead of Marcus Morris. In fact, I think pairing Morris with Green makes a ton of sense. Morris averaged 14 points per game last year. That's about where he's been the last 4 years. Very consistent player he's become. So I definitely think the Mavs should be in on Marcus Morris.
I mean, when we look at this roster, here's what it looks like right now. If you bring in Morris, he comes off the bench, but kind of going back to that few point, well, I think you'd be looking for a point guard, right?
Yeah, you would think. I think the problem there
aren't any.
Yeah, who are you going to get? They're certainly not
Rondo?
No, they are not bringing Rondo back. I actually think, look, we have Brunson penciled in there right now. They want him to be that second unit point guard in Dallas. I think, kind of like the Lakers with LeBron, Luke is basically your point guard.
Yeah, he'll play a lot of point. And so maybe Seth Curry is another guard up there if that's how the roster ends up working down. Yeah. But I am curious to see what the Mavs end up doing here in the end.
Yeah, I definitely think
it's not gone very well.
Yeah, look, they can salvage it with a Morris and another piece like a Danny Green, but look, we're just waiting and seeing right now. Morris waiting to see on Kawhi as well.
All right, Harrison, what do you have here for us?
I came up with this fun idea. Better governor, because of course can't say owner anymore.
Can't say owner.
No
can't
more
say
owners
owner
in the
chat.
NBA.
Say owner in the chat.
Very offensive, of course. Mark Cuban or Greg Abbott. For those of you familiar, Greg Abbott's the governor of Texas. We're not going to get into politics here.
I'm not brave enough for politics.
Type C for Cuban, type A for Abbott. Better governor. Look,
C's have it.
It hasn't been a great few days for old Cuban and the boys.
Cuban's taking an L. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, his pocket's never taken
Look,
out.
I'm not brave enough for politics. So.
Hey,
shout out Obi-Wan.
Not a political guy here, so keep those flying in.
You mentioned a trade earlier, as by the way, the C's clearly have it here. Danilo Gallinari. What do you make of this one?
This was more of an idea floated out there that makes sense financially. This is not actually being reported, but I do like the hypothetical that if the Clippers got Kawhi and wanted to bring in Danny Green, his buddy, alongside him, they would have to move Gallinari, especially now after the Magruder signing, would not have enough money to do all of that. So the Mavericks are right around $22.5, $23 million in cap space. They could be the recipients of Gallinari's contract and would likely receive a first-round pick as well. I think that could make some sense there if the Clippers do get Kawhi.
Yeah, so the Clippers can't afford Kawhi and Gallinari right now, but if they bring in multiple people, they can
afford Kawhi and Gallinari, but not Green, Kawhi, and Gallinari. It would be if they got Green and Kawhi. That's the key note there. So they would have to move Gallinari in that situation.
Mavs can take him on. They probably get a pick back as well.
Yeah. You would definitely get a pick back because you're facilitating cap space for the Clippers. You would get likely a first round pick. It'd be a late round pick or first rounder, of course.
All right, folks, do us a favor here. Hook us up with a like on this video. So show us some love. We got over 4,000 people watching here. And the like numbers are nowhere near that. I know that's how it always works, so we'll remind you to hook us up with a like there.
Hey, simple math. If you all like it, we'll be over 4,000 likes.
That's how math works, guys.
There you go.
Super simple there. Let me pull up the like numbers here. We're at 210, 249, rapidly rising. So hook us up with those likes there, folk. We appreciate it. Just, hey, if you like what we're doing, show some love, you know?
And while you're doing that, hit that subscribe button. Get us to 125,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're over 123,000 as that number continues to go up.
268 now is the latest update.
123,268 is where we sit. Let's get to 125K. Hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that alert button as well, you know when we go live.
The Noti Gang, as you called it?
Noti, exactly. That was not my idea. That was Brett's, but I will take credit.
Dude, just take credit.
But I will take credit.
You ruined it by saying it was Brett's idea. I didn't know that.
They don't have to know that. So
you just said it.
It's okay. New viewers are coming in every second. So Noti Gang, make sure you're subscribed, notified, all that good stuff for when we go live.
All right, folks, the latest on Danny Green, meanwhile, it seemed like he was waiting on Kawhi, but I think Green's kind of getting impatient.
Yeah, his podcast co-host Harrison Sanford has been kind of updating folks through Twitter the past couple of days, and that is not necessarily the case anymore, him waiting on Kawhi. Well, until Kawhi or Green signs, it appears that he's waiting on Kawhi, but that is the report. Look, he's enticed by the Mavericks offer because he could be a defensive leader, just a veteran in general on a team that's trying to go young, three-point shooting, really a great fit for Dallas, and I think he's enticed by that offer because I think they're offering more than anybody else is.
Well, they're the only teams that has money out there right now. So look, Green remains a high-quality 3-and-D defender, had a bit of a bounce back here in terms of shooting. He'd be a great fit on really any team, especially Dallas.
Look, second in the NBA in three-point shooting. You already signed the third three-point shooter in the NBA from last year in Seth Curry. That's what the Mavs need. They need shooters around Luka because it was brutal to watch last year when Luka's making a ridiculous shot or pass to a wide-open shooter in the corner and it clanks off the rim. They need guys who can knock those down. Danny Green's certainly one of those guys.
So here's a potential lineup for the Mavs, and again, Luka really is your dominant ball handler there, so maybe you do run out
maybe Hardaway
still plays, but we'll put Brunson there as the only true healthy point guards on this roster. What do you make of this team here?
I think it's deep.
Yeah.
Obviously, the wild card is how does Porzingis come back, and that's the wild
critical
card regardless. And I mean, look, you assume Luka's going to take another step forward. I would expect him to be an all-star next season. So that's a good deep roster right there. You're in the mix for a playoff spot in the West if you added Danny Green, but you're not quite there yet. You need to add him and probably another piece as well, maybe a Marcus Morris, as we mentioned before.
All right, so we mentioned Danny Green and Marcus Morris, also the potential Gallinari trade. Would you rather trade for Gallinari and get a pick here, and then sign Marcus Morris or sign Marcus Morris and Danny Green? So type T for the trade, S for the sign scenario.
Yeah, the more practical route is just go sign Danny Green and Marcus Morris. Look, it would be great to get a future first-round pick. Dallas doesn't have a lot of those because two are going to New York over the next few seasons. But Gallinari's on the last year of his deal, so he's not really a future piece for you. You can sign Morris to 2-3-year type deals and help build that core in Dallas. I would rather go that route.
I would as well because of what you kind of hinted at with there at the contracts. You only have Gallinari for a year. Yes, you can go over the cap to bring him back, but you can't bring Gallinari and then, look, we have $20 million because you're paying guys like Maxey and Curry, and those are going to take up your cap.
Plus, Gallo's been injury-prone throughout his career, so you'd hate to bring him on in a trade and he only plays half the season or something like that. So I think signing Marcus Morris and Danny Green.
I think the S's have it here, by the way, in the comments section.
Yeah.
All right, folks, get me to 5,500 followers. We're close. We're at 5,369. Nice.
He's at WhatGoingDowney on Twitter. Yeah. Keep those follows coming. Tom will shout you guys out.
You have some shout-outs to get caught up on,
yeah,
too,
got
right?
a couple coming in. I'll get to those in just a moment here. But, yeah, I've had 7 or 8 new followers. We appreciate that. I'm at Harrison1033. He is at WhatGoingDowney. Albert,
shout out Owen, by the way.
Owen, Sarah Small. I already shouted out Ethan, BR Longhorn, and Yang, Callan Rennick. Appreciate you guys. Jesus coming in as well. Appreciate all of you guys who follow us on Twitter.
And shout out Josh, who was the first one to follow me here on this one here. So we're up in those numbers here. Thank you all very much, folks. One last news here for the Mavericks. Dorian Finney-Smith is staying put.
Yeah, and this makes sense for a couple reasons. One, you can go over the cap because you had his rights there, so it doesn't affect the $22.5, $23 million they currently have right now. 3 years, $12 million, 4 per year. He's still developing as a shooter. He goes in these streaks where for a couple of weeks he'll shoot 45% from 3, then he'll shoot 20% for a month from 3. So very good defender, can guard multiple positions. If he can become a more consistent three-point shooter, this is a great value contract for the Mavs. This makes some sense. All
right, so that's your latest update there on the Dallas Mavericks. Finney-Smith back to Dallas, of course, on a 3-year, $12 million deal. All right, folks, time for some more NBA Q&A. So get your questions in the comments section using hashtag NBA. Use that hashtag. It makes it a lot easier for producer to actually bring them up here on screen. All right, from Blunt Smoke, are the Warriors still a title contender, and what seed will the Warriors be?
If they make the playoffs, you have to consider them a contender because by then Klay would be back. I think the challenge is how do you stay in the playoff hunt while he's gone? Of course, you expect D'Angelo Russell to help in that scenario, but it's a lot of wait and see watching the Warriors play.
I think that, yes, they will still end up being a title contender in the end. All right, Mr. Smith wants to know if Ben Simmons will ever make a three-pointer.
I mean, yes, he'll ever make one. The question is, will he ever be a guy who's a threat to consistently make them? That remains to be seen.
All right, Susan Hansen wants to know if Jordan Bell is a good fit with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I was surprised. I guess technically Golden State still has some time to agree to that offer. I guess match the offer, I should say there. But with bringing in Willie Cauley-Stein, it appears they're letting him go.
There was a 1-year deal, is what it was announced as. So I believe that because he was an RFA, it has to at least be 3 years. Therefore, the Warriors are not going to match.
Okay, well, there you go. I was wrong there. I think he still has some good potential as a rookie with Golden State. He showed some good things, but it went south quickly for Minnesota. They went from thinking they have D'Angelo Russell to Jordan Bell on a 1-year deal. Not great.
Yeah. Diamondbacks basketball wants to know if the Kings will make the playoffs.
I think there's 10 to 12 teams in the West that have a shot. Sacramento is one of them. I like what they've done in free agency. I didn't love the Dwayne Dedmon signing. I think they overpaid there. But overall, they've got a very deep roster. If De'Aaron Fox continues to develop, Buddy Hield continues to get better year in and year out, you bring back Harrison Barnes. I like that core they've got in Sacramento.
All right, Barrett Allen wants to know if Lonzo is a key player for the Pelicans.
I think so. I think he'll be able to play a little more freely for New Orleans. I think actually getting him out of L.A. and away from his dad is actually a good thing for him. I like the Pelicans. I think they've got a fun roster. They're going to have lineups where all 5 guys on the floor can handle the ball at times, and I think Lonzo getting into a more low-key environment will be good for him.
All right, folks, type S if you're already subscribed. We'll give some shout-outs here. We got over 4,000 of you guys, or about 4,000 of you guys watching right now. So type S if you guys have already subscribed. Barricade Allen, here they all come. Woke Fitness, Ryan, coming in real fast here. Fit in, Elvis, Carpet, David, Maya, School Nerd, nice. Aquatic, Diamond, TC Wings, Chris, Sean again, different Sean. GW2, Aminus, Cuckoo, Lil Gravy. That's a good name there. I like that one. Mahid, Sports Perfect, Tyler, Ninja, that boy. Thank you all very much. Omar as well. Keep typing in those S's there. We appreciate it, folks. All right, Jason Saylor wants to know, if Kawhi joins the Lakers and wins 3 straight, will LeBron be considered the GOAT?
I mean, if they win 3 straight, that's pretty hard to argue at that point. I don't think that's going to happen, but sure. If they win 3 straight, then LeBron is certainly going to be firmly in that discussion at that point.
All right, Black Magic wants to know, who are the key free agents next year outside of Anthony Davis?
And yes, side note, Anthony Davis technically will be a free agent next year. Unless this is a disaster for the Lakers, he will be back in L.A., Draymond's like the top guy right now, I believe.
Yeah, there are a couple of RFAs and guys like Ben Simmons and Siakam.
Well, Simmons just did the Supermax
but
extension.
They're going to be back. Jaylen Brown. Looking at unrestricted guys. Kyle Lowry. DeMar DeRozan.
Ugh.
Otto Porter.
That's why this was the year. And that's why, for example, the Knicks, they're signing people to 2-year deals because next year is not the year you spend money.
Lots of RFAs, Ingram, LeVert, but those guys.
If Kawhi goes back to Toronto, he will be the guy because he will not sign long-term in Toronto. I don't believe.
I think he might sign a 2-1.
Maybe.
Could happen. That might be the most likely outcome there.
Could happen.
See, winners and losers. Who are the 3 biggest winners so far? Let us know in the comment section. We'll get some shout-outs here. You and I keep mentioning the obvious one there. It's Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, look.
It's a no-brainer.
When you get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, you've won free agency. Like, even with Durant coming off sitting out next year with the Achilles, you had DeAndre Jordan as well, which, I don't know how much value he actually has. If nothing else, he's a guy that can bang and grab rebounds. But, clearly the Nets are the number 1 team there. I also love what the Jazz have done.
Yeah, so we got 3 here, the Nets, Pacers, Jazz. Many of those popped up in the comments section, but we're going to go above and beyond for you guys. We're going to give you more than just 3 winners. We're going to give you 6 here. The Pelicans, they're also included, the Warriors, and the Miami Heat.
Yeah, I mean, Miami couldn't do much with their cap situation, but getting Jimmy Butler, that's pretty good work by them.
Huge win, and that does count, I think, in free agency. So for the Nets here, they also brought in Wilson Chandler on a 1-year, $2.56 million deal. They brought in Garrett Temple. They brought in Kyrie Irving. And, of course, the big reasons why they are big-time, successful stories here, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn outmaneuvering the Knicks is by far the story of free agency so far.
Of course, they extended qualifying offers to Theo Pinson, did not extend one to Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, and D'Lo, of course, was part of a sign-and-trade that also netted them a first-round pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a nice little bonus for them right there. For Durant, though, this one was the big time win.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how the Nets look this first year without Durant, because all expectations are that he will not play this year. I mean, maybe he could try to come back for the playoffs. I don't think that's smart for him. I don't think it's smart for the Nets, so I would expect him to sit out. Of course, I don't know what the official terms of the contract are going to end up being. I think they're
kind of playing around.
Yeah, they're playing around with that there. If it's the max, it's for 164. And of course, look, you get Kevin Durant, you're a winner in free agency regardless of injury status. So that's the story so far.
Kyrie Irving, it's his team at least for next year.
Yeah,
because Durant's not going to play.
And look, I think that's an opportunity for Kyrie to be the number one guy again there, which mixed results in his career when he's been the number one guy. Obviously did not go well last year in Boston, wasn't great in Cleveland before LeBron came on board, so he can change the narrative of that a little bit there. He has a lot of fun, exciting young pieces around him, so I think that'll be fun to play out, but another big get for Brooklyn, of course.
Veteran option in DeAndre Jordan comes in here as well. A 4-year, $40 million. Kyrie and Durant took less to get him to Brooklyn and get him more money.
Yeah, that's more of KD and Kyrie just doing their buddy a solid there to not only get him $40 million, but 4-year contract like that. I did not expect him to get that length, but $10 million per year, that's not too bad.
I don't even know if he starts, frankly. I think Jared Allen does.
I would rather start Jared Allen, but a lot of folks think it'll go the other way. Either way, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch at center, the young and up-and-coming Allen, and then DeAndre Jordan, who's a proven vet.
Meanwhile, Wilson Chandler also coming in on a vet minimum deal that just provides some extra wing depth, especially when they're not going to have Kevin Durant for the first year.
Yeah, I think that's the note here with Durant missing year one. I think Chandler coming in provides some depth at that position. He's a guy that's played and started a lot of games in his career. Not the player he once was, but certainly a guy who can still play and play at a decent level.
All right, Garrett Temple, he's also coming in on a 2-year, $10 million deal. Again, another kind of combo guard wing player to help out Brooklyn.
Combo guard who can shoot a little bit. He can play a little bit of defense. So a good depth piece. When you get superstars, these are the type of players you put around them. Versatile depth pieces. That's what Garrett Temple is.
All right, so here is the Nets' current lineup. Of course, Durant is not going to play in year one, but this makes more sense to have Durant up there. Dinwiddie, Garrett Temple, Prince coming in there off the bench. Rodions Kuric could also play some power forward. They have Wilson Chandler there now. It's a good squad.
Yeah, I mean, depth is the name for Brooklyn. They've done a good job of getting star power with the depth they already have, whereas the Lakers, very top-heavy, even if they do get Kawhi. I like what Brooklyn's doing. The fact that they've pulled this off after where they were after that Celtics trade a few years ago, it's really one of the biggest stories in NBA in the last decade or so, I think.
They definitely are a winner of NBA free agency, but are they the winner? Type Y for yes, type N for no. What do you make, Harrison?
I still think they are. The only way they aren't is if Durant is a shell of himself when he comes back. But even then, are people going to look back and be like, oh, that was such a bad decision? Of course not. So, yes, they are the winners of free agency this year. But if you think it's someone else, type N for no. Maybe give us a team that you might think was the winner of this year's free agency so far.
Let's move on to the Pacers here. Two big moves. Malcolm Brogdon as part of a sign-and trade. Jeremy Lamb comes in as well. I'm a big fan of what Indiana did.
And I like Indiana realizing, look, we're a smaller market team. Let's not waste our time with these bigger fish like the Mavericks have done in the past. By the way, teaser, they will not be on this winners list. But yeah, look, you overpay a little bit for Brogdon in that sign and trade, but that's what you have to do when guys are restricted and you're a smaller market team. Of course, Collison will retire, so he's kind of your replacement there. I'm interested to see that kind of backcourt with him and, of course, I can't think of his name now. Oladipo, because they're kind of similar players, combo guards, not quite true point guards, but I like what Indiana has done.
Now that first-round pick going to Milwaukee, by the way, does have some pretty heavy protections. It's all lottery picks until like 2026.
Yeah, so it's not a huge pick.
It's going to be a late first-round pick.
Yeah, more than likely there.
Unless the Pacers suddenly suck for the next 5 straight years.
Yeah, don't think that's going to happen. They're going to be a playoff team in the East.
So Brogdon comes over to Indiana, part of a sign-and-trade there, as we mentioned. He'll be kind of a combo point guard, along with Victor Oladipo.
Yeah, and look, Oladipo needed backcourt help. He had too much on his plate. A couple years ago, had a great run getting them to the playoffs, and last year, of course, the ACL blows out. So they needed help for him. That's what Brogdon will provide, with also elite shooting as well. So playmaker, shooter, he can do that. Jeremy Lamb,
I loved it.
I think it's a good value signing here. He got off to a slow start in his career, but the last couple years has really ramped up his game.
Look, frankly, I think Jeremy Lamb was the second best player on the Hornets last season. season.
Yeah, I think so. He's, early in his career, he was kind of a laughing stock, but look, he's become a pretty good scorer in the NBA.
Come in as a sixth man, could maybe even start alongside in some three-guard lineups there with Brogdon and Oladipo. If Oladipo needs some more time to recover, Lamb probably starts there. Some promising bench pieces as well for Indiana. They're going to go with a weird lineup overall of going with almost two centers in Sabonis and Miles Turner. But I think that'll be key there for the Pacers.
I love the trade for Warren, too. I know that's not part of, winners and losers of free agency, but a guy who can really score, had a good year in Phoenix last year, so you have him in that lineup as well. I like this lineup. I think it's a good squad for Indiana. I think they can push for the top 4 in the East.
All right, so folks, make sure you are subscribed. Here are the updated numbers, 123 and then 353. We're getting there.
We're close to that 456, 103 more subs, and we get to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as Tom desperately wants to see.
I want it. But, of course, the main goal there is 125K.
Yeah, less than almost, 1,700 away there.
It's quick math there, nice.
Hey,
I'm not good
math.
at it.
So that's what I provide here. Mitch and Tom aren't good at math. I am the math expert here at Chat Sports. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Hit that subscribe button.
Another 15 just came in as well, so thank you all very much for that. All right, the Utah Jazz, big-time winners, I think. If it was just Bojan Bogdanovic, I wouldn't have been as convinced, but they got Emmanuel Mudiay, and I love the pickups of Ed Davis and Jeff Green, too.
Yeah, and of course, again, not part of free agency, but Mike Conley kind of leading the ship there. I'm a little higher on the Bogdanovic trade. They needed more shooting there. Yeah, you overpay there, but that's kind of what you have to do. Mudiay, I'm intrigued by what he can give them if he continues to develop under Quinn Snyder there. I like that fit, but I think Utah is one of the top 3 teams in the West after what they've done the last month or so.
I agree.
I think this is a loaded squad who was already very good. Donovan Mitchell won't have nearly as much on his plate now that you've got Conley and some other guards coming off the bench. I like Utah's team a lot.
Look, they won 50 games last season.
Yeah.
Denver won 54. I think they're going to be really good again next year. It's pretty much the same squad. Portland won 53. They should be good. Houston won 53, but Utah got better.
And I think significantly better.
And we're not even including Mike Conley here.
Yeah.
That's trade. That's draft. So
Ed Davis is kind of the throw-in on what they've done in free agency. He is a proven backup big who can rebound and play defense.
And a perfect fit for them, too.
Yeah, and especially after losing Derek Favors. You get that good value contract there. So I'm a huge fan of what the Jazz have done.
Yeah, I think Utah here sets themselves up for a lot of success here. Again, here's their current lineup. They've got shooting with guys like Bogdanovic and Ingles. They got some quality bench pieces in Ed Davis, Mudiay. You want to include Dante Exum, I guess, Royce O'Neal, Jeff Green, Mitchell. Spider Mitchell remains still one of the best young guards in the NBA. Now he's got Mike Conley, too. And this team's going to win 50 games.
You can play lineups, too, where Jeff Green comes in for Gobert, where all 5 can shoot. All 5 can shoot from 3. So they're going to be able to be really creative with their lineups, with their roster. I like Utah. I think they're going to be a force in the West next year.
All right, folks. So, again, Utah here, one of the big-time winners in NBA free agency. Of course, they're not the only winner out there right now. We'll get to some more here in a little bit, but just to briefly recap where we're at. Pacers, Nets were the 2 biggest winners. Also, the New Orleans Pelicans here. They check in next. J.J. Redick is the big one there. Derek Favors was technically a trade, but it really was a free agency because he was going to get waived.
Yeah, and again, Utah decided to go cheaper with Ed Davis, so they move on from Favors, which I love for New Orleans, by the way. Gives them a banger inside. I love the Redick signing for them because when you go young in the NBA, you like to have a blend of some experienced veterans. How about a guy who averaged 18 points and can shoot the lights out of it in J.J. Redick? That makes a lot of sense there. We'll see if they have any more moves up their sleeves, but I think New Orleans, as soon as they won the draft lottery, really found a way to do a good job at obviously getting Zion and manipulating that draft a little bit, trading with the Hawks, and now what they've done in free agency.
Redick was a surprise to me on a 2-year, $26 million deal because that had not been mentioned at all.
Yeah, I just assumed he'd stay with Philly or go out west to one of the L.A. teams and play for a title contender. Don't think the Pelicans are quite there yet, but he gets a good contract and provides leadership on that team.
Yeah, Derek Favors comes in, part of a trade with the Pelicans. Now, in reality, this was a free giveaway. They gave up future seconds from the Warriors. So, oh no, they traded 2 picks in the 50s.
Yeah, so what?
It doesn't really matter there in the end. So this is their current squad. I'll also make note, Darius Miller back to them. they got a lot of pieces here. They're pretty deep, too. I mean, Darius Miller not even on their bench. He started games for them last year. Nikhil Alexander-Walker, Josh Hart, Redick, Favors, Okafor. I like it a lot.
Yeah, and of course, all the assets from the Lakers trade for AD, to get Lonzo Ingram and Josh Hart back. I'm a big fan of it. I think the Pelicans, I think they'll be in the mix for a playoff spot next year. And who doesn't want to see Zion? How about this? Just came up with this. Okay. Lakers 1 seed, Pelicans 8 seed. Zion versus LeBron, first round matchup. Get your popcorn ready.
That's fun.
Let's do it. I sign me up for that.
The Pelicans are a bird, so which bird is best? Let us know in the comments section.
Well, it's Larry, of course.
Okay, well, how about not Larry? Because Larry is the best bird.
Favorite actual bird?
Or our bird's trash. That's a take I've seen a lot on Twitter, so let me know in the comments section.
Our bird's trash. That's another answer that question as well.
Someone said Hawks. Good point.
I was just
not crows. They're a trash
Pelicans are pretty cool. I was just out in the Bay Area and saw some out there. So
someone said Birdman.
Big Bird, of course.
The gang has it right. It's definitely Big Bird. I think Big
Birdman,
Bird.
The loser ex-basketball player or the rapper? That's the real question there.
It's definitely a basketball player. Also, Penguins, also an acceptable answer as well. Let's move then to the Golden State Warriors. Willie Cauley-Stein, we don't know his deal. It should be a 1 year for a little bit above the minimum. Kevon Looney comes in. D'Angelo Russell comes in as part of a sign-in trade there. Then Kevin Durant leaves, but they keep Klay Thompson. They also bring in Glenn Robinson, and I think they're going to waive Sean Livingston in the near future as well.
Look, normally when you lose your best player, you would be considered a free agency loser, but all signs pointed to Durant leaving. I know there was some hopeful thinking down the stretch of the year that maybe, especially with the injury, maybe he would come back. But look, to salvage that with getting D'Lo in the trade, obviously you brought back Klay Thompson. You you bring back Looney on a cheapish contract when I thought he could have gotten paid much more elsewhere, and Cauley-Stein for like nothing. I mean, that's pretty good work from Bob Myers in Golden State. And, we have to see how they all play together and how it all fits. It's going to be a different looking squad, but I think on the surface, they're definitely free agent winners.
Now, I will make note here, we had a super chat come in from Lucas Magruder, who's asked about the Warriors still being a title contender. Yes, I think they are because of their moves. The key, they could have regressed with no Klay Thompson, won like 40-ish games or maybe 45 games, but because of their moves, I think they absolutely are.
Yeah, and the key is staying afloat until Thompson comes back. Just be, in the mix, and then you make that push. They're not a team that needs high seeding to make a run in the playoffs. They just need to get in. You get in, and they will certainly be title contenders yet again.
All right, folks. So Willie Cauley-Stein, I also love that one moving in a big way. That was a huge pickup for them.
Yeah, for like
I
nothing.
love that. For nothing.
I thought he could be close to $8 to $10 million for another team.
Now, they also lost Andre Iguodala. This was part of the move to afford cap space for D'Angelo Russell because they were hard capped because NBA rules are really complicated there. Future first that's protected that actually might end up being okay.
Yeah, and they needed scoring. I mean, look, with losing Durant and Thompson missing a good chunk of the season, they needed somebody to take the scoring load off of Steph Curry. So you bring in D'Angelo Russell. He should be able to give you 20 or so points per night. That's the idea here, clearing cap space to get D'Lo, of course.
All right, so here's the Warriors' current lineup. I actually don't really know who plays the 3 for them. Maybe it's McKinney. Maybe it's Glenn Robinson even. I don't know what the options here are.
Yeah, maybe they still get involved with the cheap veteran. We'll have to wait and see there. But, obviously when Klay comes back, I think you'll see a lot of that 3-guard lineup where Klay actually plays the 3. At 6'7", he can do that. But yeah, that opening night lineup is going to be very fascinating to watch and to see what that looks like. Penciling in Jordan Poole says quite a lot about where they are depth-wise right now.
All right, folks, so we know a lot of you guys don't like the Golden State Warriors. So what NBA team do you hate the most?
Man, I hated D-Wade's Miami Heat, of course, living here in Dallas. I don't know. That's a tough question. Now, with a lot of players on the move now, because I don't hate Golden State as much anymore because they're not super team Golden State. So I wouldn't have them as my top team. Once Durant went there, I couldn't stand them because I thought that was such a weak move by him.
I see Clippers. I see a lot of Lakers. Can't say I'm surprised by that one. Golden State. Grizzlies. That's a weird team to hate. Pacers.
Not good enough to hate.
Lakers definitely have it. Now, I will make note when we ask the favorite team, the Lakers often win that too, so I guess that does kind of make sense there.
Well, it's kind of like the Cowboys in the NFL. You either love the Cowboys or you hate them. That's
Shout
what
out the guy who said Tom the Heat. Thank you for following our swearing rules here. Now, speaking of the Heat, they're actually one of our other free agency winners. Hassan Whiteside got shipped out to Portland. That was a win for them. Yep. But the biggest reason why, they actually got a superstar in Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I mean, coming into free agency, we didn't even really consider Miami as a team that could make a lot of moves. They're able to dump Hassan Whiteside. We'll see if they keep Goran Dragic. They're able to make the money work now with Butler. Maybe he becomes a deadline type of move to a contender, because I don't think even with Butler, Miami's quite ready to contend. They're going to have to add pieces later in their contract. Yeah, I think this is a probably 5 through 8 team in the East, depending on how it all plays out. But yeah, you get Jimmy Butler when you really weren't expected to do anything in free agency. That's certainly a win for them.
And here was the 4-team chaos trade that ended up being the Heat got Jimmy Butler and Myles Leonard. They also shipped off Mo Harkless, part of the trade to get rid of Hassan Whiteside to L.A. Future first ends up going to the Clippers there. Portland gets back Hassan Whiteside. Thought that was a good trade for really kind of all parties involved in the end.
Yeah, I think so. I think Miami and Whiteside's partnership had clearly come to an end, and Portland just taking a flyer on a guy in his last year of his deal as they dish out a couple of expiring contracts as well. I think that makes some sense there.
So now the Heat are focused around Jimmy Butler. They have, for now at least, kept Goran Dragic to doing to free up a little bit more money by maybe finding a trade or waiving some people. Dion Waiters, he's still on that squad for now. Kelly Olynyk, they have a lot of extra bigs down there, which maybe they start a Johnson or an Olynyk and put Waiters on the bench and keep Winslow playing. Options, though, in the end for Miami.
Yeah, it's an intriguing team right now. Not even close to a contender as it sits. I think Miami's more thinking maybe next year or the year after that they can get more shooters around Jimmy Butler, because
like Tyler Hero.
Waiters is not going to be a guy that's going to shoot consistently out there. Winslow's kind of been the same guy since they drafted him. Not a ton of improvement for him. So interesting type of roster, but obviously when you get Jimmy Butler, that's a good step in the right direction.
And no to, who was that? That was GW Kingshot. Dragic is not on the Mavs.
No.
Goran Dragic was not part of that trade. That kind of fell apart more in the Mavs coming up here. But there is life, all right? Life involves losers. I'm sorry, guys. Not everyone's a winner. No one gets a participation trophy just for showing up and putting in a good effort. This is the NBA. So who are your 3 biggest losers so far? Let us know in the comments section. And then while you get those flowing in there, I see a lot of Knicks. I'm not surprised by that one. We'll do a little bit better. We'll give you 5 here. The Hornets, the Knicks, the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Mavs. And yes, especially for the Clippers and Mavs, this can definitely change. In fact, I think for Dallas it does change.
Yeah, and I think
we'll get there.
You could, asterisk Lakers, if they don't get Kawhi, that you could throw them on this list too. But yeah, in the Mavericks and Clippers space specifically, with the Clippers, if they get Kawhi, not only are they not losers, they're winners. And the Mavericks, I don't know if there's anything they could do to become winners in free agency, but if you
get out of the loser side.
If you get a Danny Green and or a Marcus Morris, or make a trade for a Dragic or something like that, you've at least done something to get yourself out of the losers. But as it sits right now, and also Houston, this is where we are.
Yeah, and I'll make note, whichever team does not get Kawhi, also losers, be it the Lakers or the Raptors, and Clippers, of course, can change.
Absolutely.
The Hornets, though, for me, Harrison, remain the biggest losers, because why the hell are you paying Terry Rozier almost $20 million a year?
Yeah, I mean, considering you weren't willing to bring back Kemba for the max, and reportedly really not even close to the max, you turn around and give a guy who's way worse than Kemba $60 million almost. I mean, I just don't really get that. And I get if you're Charlotte, you have to fill out your cap a little bit, but I don't know if paying Terry Rozier is that answer. Look, he played really well in the playoffs for Boston a couple of years ago, but he is not a guy I view as a future all-star or anything like that.
He'll put up some numbers because there's no one else on
He'll
that
be a volume
squad,
guy. He'll probably average 17, 18 points, but it'll be on like 40% from the field and low 30s from 3. It's not going to be pretty for Charlotte.
Woke Fitness putting in fake news claiming that Terry Rozier is better than Kemba because he's not at all. Now, look, Rozier I think will actually put up good numbers for them.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be a volume scorer. Someone's going to have to score for them.
There was nobody else who was going to pay Terry almost $20 million.
No, I think
and
he would have been in the 12 to 14 range.
Oh, yeah, at most.
I mean, but 18 to 20, I mean, that's
He got
absurd.
more than like all the other point guards that weren't max contracts.
Yeah, I mean, Pat Beverly
sense.
got $40 million over 3
Yeah,
years, not
it's just,
60.
I don't understand that at all. They lost Kemba Walker, which, look, I think that was the right move, but they've messed up the before and the after. They should have traded away Kemba because he was going to be too expensive. because they're not good enough to win with Kemba. That's okay. The rest of the roster's just in terrible shape. But then you throw money at Rozier. I just don't get it.
And they've done this before when you max out Nick Batum and you pay, some of these other guys big money in the past. They gave Jeremy Lamb a decent contract. Now he's gone. Like, they've made this mistake before, and here they are doing it again, paying Rozier way more than market value.
You're throwing big money at Nick Batum. You got Cody Zeller making money. Bismack Biyombo is one of the worst contracts in the NBA.
Yeah.
Marvin Williams making big money. MKG's making big money. He's the best of that group, but it's not a good contract.
Let's face it, not only did they lose free agency, Charlotte's one of the bottom 3 teams, I think, when you project the next 5 years or so. There's no upward momentum for them. Not a ton of assets, bunch of bad contracts.
All right, so folks, speaking of Carolinas, which location makes the best barbecue?
I'm partial to Texas barbecue, of course. I think Kansas City barbecue is overrated. I've only had it once.
It's good barbecue,
but
I'm actually going to go with Kansas City there.
I think it's overrated. I think Memphis is the best, though.
Okay.
I've had Memphis barbecue a few times. A couple of my buddies from college are from Memphis. It's excellent. Memphis 1, Texas barbecue 2.
As we continue to take a time on top of Charlotte and Carolina's there, Carolina barbecue's trash. So, it's bad. Plain and simple bad.
Rough times for the Carolinas.
All right, folks, which city are you watching from? Let us know in the comment section. I guess apologies to Carolina barbecue fans, but,
I didn't even know Carolina.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's the worst of the group by far.
Is that like saying, yeah, I like Midwest Mexican food better than Tex-Mex?
That's a great comparison.
That's trash. That's just not. No one actually thinks that.
Mustard base is not the way to go with barbecue.
What city are you living in? Baltimore, Pittsburgh,
Baltimore,
Norfolk, whatever.
It's pronounced Baltimore.
Okay.
That's how they say it.
Philadelphia, Dallas, shout out. Detroit, Cali, not a city. Rip City, big Portland fans here.
I like that one. All right, another big-time loser, the New York Knicks, and I'll make this point that, as I always do, number one, I'll get to that point later, but the big one here as it relates to the Knicks, expectations matter.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have money to spend, well, hey, okay, you're not going to necessarily be a big free agency winner or loser because you can't do anything. The Knicks had room for 2 max contracts. That was their plan. And this is what they got instead, the best bench in the NBA.
And keep in mind, they traded Porzingis for basically nothing just to create those 2 max contract spots. And what do they get? Julius Randle, who's a nice young player, and a bunch of veterans on 2-year deals that, yeah, it'll get them somewhat competitive this year. They might challenge for a back-end playoff spot, but that was not even close to the goal. You wanted to pair Durant and Kyrie, and then it's a joke when your owner comes out and says, yeah, we didn't want Durant because we didn't want to give him the max coming off the Achilles. Total trash statement from Dolan.
Fire Dolan.
Yeah.
Press F in the chat.
Yeah. It's just a disaster for the Knicks, and I feel bad for Knicks fans because the anticipation leading up to this, Tom, was huge, and they came up empty.
We're going to get Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and then they only got Julius Randle, who I like. I actually think it's a fine deal here. He's a good fit in New York, but, it's not.
Again,
it's
not
a
the expectation.
Yeah,
that's not what you were shooting for if you're the Knicks.
You bring in Taj Gibson, you're throwing money at all these veterans. A lot of these guys, by the way, after Randle, are on 1-year deals with a second-year team option, which I actually like there.
That makes sense because next year's free agency is trash, so they'll probably opt into most of those guys. And then in 2021, you can try again in free agency.
And look, the Knicks will be a better team this year. They might push for a playoff spot.
I think so.
Which I actually think is bad for them.
Yeah.
Like, that's
just
not exactly tank.
Just tank again after you miss out on Durant and Kyrie, right? Like, if you want to bring in Randall, fine, but don't bring in 7 guys on 2-year deals to shore up your roster. You're not fooling anybody into thinking you're a contender.
Yeah, and I don't think that was the best move for them in the end. Like, they needed to find either be bad or be good. Like, don't be caught in the middle. That's where the Knicks are going to be this year.
Yeah, being in the middle is the worst place you can be in the NBA.
They bring in Bullock. They bring in Elfrid Payton. These, again, they have the best bench in the NBA.
Their point guard roster is actually garbage.
So maybe they end up finding a scenario where, like, they're able to make a trade and they ship out, like, a Bobby Portis for a bad contract and a pick, which they should have done this offseason. Like, take on the bad deals.
That could be an option for them. Look, and they signed like 4 power forwards. It's weird what they've done. And really, it happened fast. Like, Durant and Kyrie signed off the bat. So, panic time, let's sign 7 players within 24 hours. I just don't know.
Shout out Angel Hernandez, who says Portis was overpaid, which, Sure, maybe. But again, I actually dig their bench a lot, by the way. Reggie Bullock, Alonzo Trier, Alfred Payton,
Get
Wayne
Ellington
Ellington, Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson.
Shout out Taj Gibson continuing to get paid, by the way.
That's a great bench. That's the best bench in the NBA. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter when your starting five is not great.
And there's promise there for sure with Robinson and Knox, and I still have some
Barrett,
belief in DSJ, and of course Barrett's now your hopeful star going forward. But the expectations were not met. So grade the Knicks free agency moves: A, B, C, D, or F.
I'll give them a D because they didn't do nothing, but it's an F from a perspective standpoint because they didn't come close to reaching their expectations.
The hope was that the Knicks were going to be big winners, massive winners there. Instead, they just add a bunch of depth players.
Yeah.
I see a lot of C's coming in. I think that might be a fair answer there as well. All right, the Clippers, meanwhile, I like bringing back Patrick Beverley.
Yeah.
Magruder got the bag. I'm kind of surprised by the price tag there.
Yeah, it's a little rich for him, and again, they're waiting on Kawhi, so that deal.
And I don't think that they get him.
That deal doesn't become official. Yeah, so as it sits right now, they haven't made any significant moves. So at this point in time, they are free agency losers. Obviously, that can change with Kawhi. While we don't know what's going on with Kawhi at all, I would rank them third on the list behind the Raptors and Lakers.
I would as well. Again, I like the Beverley pickup there, but the Clippers' plan, much like the Knicks here, and again, I'll make this note, things can change. We're only beholden to our takes as of right now at 11:20 a.m. Central Time here. The plan was to bring in Kawhi and Durant or Butler. It didn't happen.
And also, Tom, a lot of teams get credit for bringing back their core roster, which, you bring back a Beverley, you're doing that. But the Clippers, unlike the Nuggets, for example, just bringing it back makes a lot of sense. Young players that are rising. Clippers needed to add what they have. They haven't done that yet.
I also did like the Clippers picking up Mo Harkless for a free future first-round pick. They didn't have anything there.
Yeah, and it's not like Harkless can't play. I mean, he's a bench piece that can provide quality minutes there.
But this was spun as if, oh, look, we got Mo Harkless. That's a great piece to lure Kawhi. I'm like, no, it's not. He's a nice ninth man.
Yeah, and bringing back Beverley is not luring Kawhi to the Clippers. If they get Kawhi, it's because he wanted to go to L.A. and he didn't want to be in LeBron's shadows. That's serious. That's the only reason.
And look, the Clippers have a good squad. They overachieved last year. Shout out to them. But they're not really a team you want to roll it back with necessarily. They wanted upgrades. They did not find them.
Yeah, and look, maybe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a guy that takes a big step forward next year, but you need a star to pair with what you've got, and right now it's not looking super likely.
All right, folks, so which team will Kawhi sign with? Type TOR for the Raptors, LAC for the Clippers, LAL for the Lakers.
Still leaning Raptors, but I'm not saying that confidently.
Yeah, as someone says, the Slippers are going to whiff on Kawhi. It's a fun typo there. Most of these votes are for TOR right now, and then the LAL ones will come in. Not very many there for LAC.
Yeah.
Let's move to another team here. That is the Houston Rockets. Speaking of rolling it back, that's just what they're doing.
Yeah, it appears that way. I think they might be in the mix for Andre Iguodala if he gets bought out in Memphis, which I expect he will. But look, Daryl Morey throughout the offseason has talked about, look, we're gonna revamp this roster. We're gonna try and trade Capella. Then they got this Jimmy Butler idea. That didn't happen. So while their core is still good, and I think they'll be a top 4 or 5 team in the West probably with it being wide open, they're not. They've proven they don't have enough to win with what they have. They needed to add something. If they add Iggy, I think that's significant for them, but as of now, they've done nothing. They've brought back Austin Rivers on the minimum contract. You bring back Daniel House. That's not moving the needle for me.
Yeah, they wanted Jimmy Butler. Again, expectations. Their plan was, we're going to make room for Jimmy Butler, and the Heat did what they were going to do.
Pat Riley outmaneuvered Daryl Morey. I mean, it's as simple as that.
And look, I am intrigued by the idea of running it back, but at the same time, Houston would have benefited from what the Jazz did in terms of not Boyan, but finding an Ed Davis pickup, finding Emmanuel Mudiay. Houston, we're going to make changes to our roster. Well, just kind of
chilling. To not even get more involved in the bargain bin hunting is pretty disappointing, I think, if you're Houston.
Yeah, so Houston, again, it could change there, but I think they're going to run it back with the same squad that they had last year. Clint Capella, Harden, CP3, Gordon, Tucker.
Which, again, they're going to compete in the West.
Where's your big man depth, though?
But it's not enough. Yeah, maybe they bring back Kenneth Faried for the minimum.
Bring in Boogie. Do it, cowards.
I think you should flirt with it. I hadn't thought of that, but I think you should if you're Houston. Why not, right?
I mean, you
the
need
problem is,
extra
can you
depth
sell
there.
him on a bench role? Because I don't think you can start him and Capella together. I don't think that works.
Bring in JaVale, I guess. But Boban return? I don't know. I'm just throwing out options there. I don't think.
I think they probably end up bringing Kenneth Faried back,
Faried would make sense.
Who had a nice little revitalization last season in Houston.
Bring back Melo.
Yeah.
Kidding.
Worked out
Totally kidding there.
Very poorly.
All right, folks. Type S if you guys are already subscribed. We'll give you guys some shout-outs here as these flow in. Let me get the exact numbers here, too, for you. But type S there if you guys are subscribed to us here on Chat Sports. About 4,000 watching. I bet you're not all subscribed here. So type in S if you guys are already subscribed. Woke Fitness, Man Detroit, Caesar Slushy. That's Slushy. I almost thought it was Slushy there for a second there. Neil, Mason, Gerard, Sal, Mason, Jared. They're coming in real fast.
What's
right
that
now.
current number there, Tom?
I'm pulling it up.
We approaching 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We are at.
We got Keem, Nene.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 9. We're so close.
We're right there.
I'll have to keep refreshing here.
Tell a friend. YouTube.com/chatsports.
Somebody make sure I get that screenshot because I'm going to be real disappointed if we aren't here. Let me check the numbers again. I refreshed. We're at. Oh, it's frozen. No.
They're coming in too fast, Tom.
They're coming in too fast.
They're freezing your computer. So make sure you're subscribed. Type
1,
S.
2, 3, 4, 4, 9.
If you're already subscribed.
I'm gonna refresh it. Hope
7
we get it
more.
Here. All right. In the meantime, Harrison, take us to the Dallas Mavericks and why things could definitely change, but for now, it's been a loss of a free agency offseason.
Yeah, and they're putting an asterisk there because, again, like you said, they can do things that improves their roster. They've really just brought everybody back.
Oh, it's gone.
Breaking news: Tom did not get his wish.
It jumped from 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 6 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 0.
Hey,
Thank you guys.
You know what that means, though?
But,
more subscribers. Let's get to 125K. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Yeah, look, as far as the Mavericks go,
so disappointing.
They've brought back really most of their role players. You extend Dwight Powell. You get Porzingis to commit, obviously, to that 5-year deal. J.J. Barea is back on the minimum. Dorian Finney-Smith, Kleba. You get Seth Curry, who provides much-needed shooting for them. But the expectation coming in was not that they would get a superstar, but that they might get a Pat Beverly or they might be in on Malcolm Brogdon. Those things faded very quickly. So now the Mavericks are in a holding pattern, and as of now, you have to consider them a free agent loser.
And I think this will change if they can get it Danny Green and or Marcus Morris. But their only big move was to bring in Seth Curry. That's not enough when you got all that cap space.
Yeah, and bringing back your core, like, yeah, you deserve credit for that, but who's going to pay Maxi Kleba $36 million over 4 years? Probably nobody. So,
who's going to pay Dorian Finney-Smith 3 years, $12 million? Probably nobody.
Yeah. So I mean, look, you had to bring back that depth, and I get that. What I do like what the Mavs have done is they've signed all these guys to 3 or 4 year deals, so you have continuity.
Yeah.
Now you get a Danny Green on a 3 or 4 year deal. That helps as well. But as of now, haven't done enough for me. They are free agency losers as we sit on day 4.
And I think the biggest thing for Dallas here, because you've now locked up Dwight Powell for an extra year going forward, you've locked up Dorian Finney-Smith for extra years, you brought back JJ, you brought back Maxey, and you signed Seth Curry. Next year, once the Kristaps extension takes effect and all these other deals takes effect, you're not going to have money. So, and you can use the cap holds for now and not re-sign your players to have it affect the cap the same way next year. So it's now or never to spend that $20+ million.
Plus,
or it's gone.
Plus, you're going to have to pay Luka in a few years.
Yeah.
So, like, you have to bolster that depth a little bit more here, and that's kind of where we're waiting and seeing to see if the Mavericks are able to do that.
And they haven't found a center yet so far. So grade the Mavs free agency moves. A, B, C, D, or F. Again, expectations matter. We thought they were going to go after the pipe dream was Kemba and Al Horford, never came close. All the moves that they wanted never happened.
Yeah.
Right now they got Seth Curry. That's it.
Yeah, I mean D+. I mean Curry is going to be a key bench guy for them, so they get a little bit of credit there. But that's really all they've done. So I can't give them more than that. Maybe a C- if you factor in you locked up Porzingis, but it's not like that was a surprise.
All right, folks, keep those votes flowing in. I think it's actually mostly B's here right now, although now I see some D's and F's, so maybe that's not
all over the place. If you're saying B, then you somehow know that the Mavs have signed Danny Green.
All things Mavs says A because he's gone full homer there. But grade the Mavs for agency moves A, B, C, D. Signings that have come come in here. Darius Miller was the most recent one, 2 years, 14.25. Magruder, Moutier, and Chandler, ones we mentioned. Any of those here kind of jump out to you here?
Well, starting with Chandler, he's not going to jump off the screen for you, but they needed a wing with Durant likely missing this entire season, so that makes sense for the Nets there. I'm intrigued by Moutier in Utah because if he's a contributor for them with everything else they've done, that's just if Emmanuel Moutier is like your 10th man,
solid.
That's pretty good there. Magruder, I think, slightly overpaid, but he's a versatile wing for the Clippers. Darius Miller, I don't like that contract for New Orleans. Not sure why he gets $14 million. Again, they had to do the 2-year deal for cap purposes.
All right, Noah Vonleh, he's going over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jeff Green to Utah as well. Jared Dudley to the Lakers. I like that one here, by the way.
Yeah, look, they got to bring in cheap vets, and that market has dried up in a lot of ways. You get Dudley for cheap. That makes sense there. Jeff Green, kind of like Moutier, a good depth move for Utah there. Vonleh has just kind of been a consistent underachiever in the NBA, but, you get him for the men, so we'll see if he can provide something there. Shake Milton, cool name. Don't really care about the actual move there.
He might compete for that backup point guard role.
Yeah.
McConnell does not return, by the way.
When he got playing time with Boston, he did good things. He just got lost in that roster over time.
All right, and then Luke Cornett also going to the Chicago Bulls. Glenn Robinson and Willie Cauley-Stein, both to the Warriors. I was impressed and surprised by that one there.
Yeah, it's great for Golden State. Surprised from Cauley-Stein's standpoint. Maybe his market just not what he thought it would be, so gets to go to a team where he can play around winning pieces, so that's a good move from the Warriors. Wanamaker, Celtics needed to bring back a backup guard with losing Kyrie and Rozier. Obviously, they got Kemba as well. Archie Diacono is a guy I thought might be a little better in the NBA. Haven't quite seen it from him. Can really shoot. Doesn't do much else, though.
Kyle O'Quinn also going to the Philadelphia 76ers there. Boston brought back some guys in VP and Tice. Dorian Finney-Smith as well.
Yeah, we talked about Finney-Smith with the Mavericks. Pretty good value there. 3 years, $12 million, only $4 per year. Maybe that's a little rich for him. But if you can improve his three-point shooting, he has great value as a defender already. So I like that move there for Dallas to keep him on board. None of those other moves really move the needle for me.
All right, folks, as Bets on Fort says, it is hashtag NBA time, so you saw that one coming there. Use hashtag NBA. Get your questions here up on screen. There were a couple super chats we didn't get to earlier from Angel Hernandez. Says, is Lonzo going to become a better shooter next season?
Hopefully. He's going to be limited throughout his career with that shooting motion because you can't shoot over extended length with the way he shoots. So you'd like to get that three-point percentage into the mid-30s at least. If you can get to 35% with the way he distributes and handles, he's a solid player for them. But, I have to see it from Lonzo before I can believe it.
All right, some more questions here from Ivan. Will Gordon Hayward come back to his all-star stats next year?
Boston hopes so. I definitely think he will be better. I'm not sure if we'll see Utah Gordon Hayward ever again. I'd like to see it. I definitely think he will be more of a factor for Boston this year. I think he averaged 11, 12 points this past season. Look for him to push for 16, 17 points per game this year. Get more minutes for Boston. I think that is the goal for them. Plus, you added Kemba. If you can get a better Gordon Hayward, Boston will still be in the mix in the Eastern Conference.
All right, Albert Yu wants to know, is it a good move for the Warriors to give up Cook?
I get why they did because he's a bad defender and they already have plenty of guards who can't defend. Curry and D'Lo, that's going to be a struggle for them at times. He's a good three-point shooter, though. If he's super cheap, I don't know why you wouldn't bring him back. They still have to fill out that roster. So I actually think they should have maybe brought him back there.
All right, August LTU says, who is next season's MVP?
Good question. If Kawhi goes to the Clippers, I'll say Kawhi. Otherwise, I think it'll be between Curry and Giannis because Curry's going to shoot a ton for Golden State with Durant gone and Clay being out. I think he could get his third MVP next year.
Scott Baswell wants to know if Willie Cauley-Stein will fit in Golden State.
I think so. I like this fit too. I didn't even make it from this standpoint, is that D'Lo is a pick and roll guy. And you need bigs to run pick and roll, with Golden State hadn't done. So I think with Looney, with Cauley-Stein, you might see them mix that in, get Curry off the ball some, so it could be a different look for them. I think it's a good fit there in Golden State for Cauley-Stein.
All All right, from EJ Doe, what seed will the Warriors be next year?
I actually think they'll be somewhere between 5 and 8. I don't think they'll be a top 4 because I think Klay's missing at least half the year, and I think it's going to be challenging at times to figure out how things fit with D'Lo, especially early on in the season. I do think it's a playoff team. Don't think it's a top 4 seed in the West, though.
All right, folks. So again, we'll get to some more Q&A here as well. But I think for Golden State, it makes sense for them to be in that 5 to 8 range because I'm curious how things go with D'Angelo Russell. There's no Klay Thompson. They're not going to be as good as they were.
I'll say
last
it with
year.
the qualifier of it doesn't matter what their seed is. If they get healthy come playoff time,
they're going to be a threat.
They're going to be a factor. So don't worry about the seed if you're a Warriors fan.
All right, some news for you guys here involving the Dallas Mavericks. Harrison, what's going on here?
Boban to Dallas, 7'3", 290. They get the most interesting-looking player in the NBA to Dallas. Look, I think it makes some sense. I thought they should look at Cauley-Stein a little bit harder, but certainly they decided not to go in that direction. They needed a true banger at center. Boban can only play limited minutes. As we all know, he gets gassed very, very quickly as he is a massive human being. Also, should note here, only team in the NBA to have 2 7'3" guys, I believe, with Kristaps
I think you're right.
and Boban there. Look, he could come in, he can rebound, he can block the occasional shot. He'll play 10 to 12 minutes per game. I think now, more importantly, if you're Dallas, the focus is completely on Danny Green and or Marcus Morris now. I'm not saying Boban shores up the center position, but with bringing back Powell and Kleba in addition to Boban, I think you're feeling better about that there. It also might mean, and Jimmy will agree with this, maybe Salah Mejri is not on this team next year.
Oh, good point there. All right, folks, give us a one-word reaction to the Boban to Dallas. I don't know why we said the Boban, but okay.
Because he's the Boban.
Okay.
He's kind of more of a persona, right?
First off,
question, is he human?
You split up the BFFs of Boban and Tobias Harris. I'm kind of disappointed by that.
Well, when you pay Tobias Harris $36 million per year, you're limited on what you can do. By the way, we're still waiting to hear details.
Yes, we don't have the contract details. I would suspect 1 year.
I think it's the minimum, right?
Yeah.
If you're and you can create cap space if you're Dallas by waiving Courtney Lee. Before this deal, they were between 22 and 23 million because Finney-Smith and Kleba's contracts don't count against the books because they have their rights and they can extend the cap there. I would guess it ends up being the minimum here because they don't want to sacrifice money when they're going after Danny Green.
So here's the Mavs' current lineup. We'll put Boban in there. By the way, 2-year, $7 million deal.
Oh, wow.
2 years, $7 million.
I don't know about that.
Is that? I'm trying to think of his years. I don't think that's not the vet minimum.
I'm not sure.
He doesn't have the experience to get that high of a price tag.
I'd love to see if that second year is fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
If it is, then let's say that is the number for both years. So you're in the $20 million range now, $19 million or so with cap. Can get to about 26 or 27 if you stretch wave Courtney Lee, which would still be enough to go get Danny Green and Marcus Morris, by the way. But yeah, that's a little more than I would expect. If it was 1 year, 3.5, that would make more sense. But to do 2 years, 7, that surprises me a little bit.
So Boban comes in. He's the new backup center. Of course, they have Maxi Kleba there, and they have Dorian Finney-Smith and Justin Jackson in there too.
Yeah.
Seth Curry, JJ Barea if he's ever healthy. Does this change your viewpoint of the Mavs free agency yet?
I don't
or
think
is it kind of more of the
adding
same?
Boban doesn't change really what they're doing, what their direction is. But I will say this. Their bench, and the Mavericks have been known for this for a long time now, even in the last couple of years when they've been bad. They've historically had one of the better benches in the NBA, but they really only have 2 really high-end starters that you feel good about, and Luka and Porzingis. Those other 3 spots, as of now, you don't really have. I mean, even Dwight Powell, who I like, I think his best place in the NBA is a high-energy bench guy, and he's probably going to start for Dallas. So you need more higher-end players, and hopefully they get a Danny Green who becomes that third guy for them there. But good depth for the Mavericks, not as much on the top end, though, with only having Luka and Porzingis there.
I do still think they need somebody else. If they get Danny Green, I feel a lot better about this free agency.
Yeah, you get Danny Green, you're officially off the loser list for free agency.
All right, so folks, again, Boban here heading to the Dallas Mavericks. You see any good at any of those one-word reactions in there?
Let's see as some of those fly in. Again,
I see people saying Europe, by the way, which is pretty funny.
Well, the Mavericks are committing to this European squad, right?
Yeah.
You got Luka, you got Boban. They've been international for a while. They had Solomon Medri. I think he's probably out now. Of course, Dirk, the face of the history of this franchise. Bringing Boban in there certainly adds to that mix. J.J. Barea from Puerto Rico there as well. So, yeah, I mean, again, as far as how much it moves the needle for me, it'll be entertaining having Boban run around. I want to see a lineup with him and Kristaps on the floor at the same time.
See him trying to move
That's
around
what I want to see. But otherwise, really just filling a backup positional need here is what this is.
All right, folks. So Boban again going to the Dallas Mavericks here. Again, what grade do you give this, by the way?
I'll give it a B-. I don't love the contract on it, but, you still get him relatively cheap, a little more than I would have liked, and they did need a center that can bang, and Boban can certainly do that.
All right, folks, so again, keep those reactions flowing in. Boban going to Dallas on a 2-year, $7 million deal. It's a quality pickup there, I guess. In the end.
Yeah, I mean,
not earth-shattering, but
again, we're still in wait-and-see mode with the Mavericks. What else do they do? Like, your free agency can't be Seth Curry and Boban. Like, it's got to be more than that.
All right, so Boban here heading to the Dallas Mavericks. By the way, folks, use hashtag NBA to get your questions on the show. We'll do some live Q&A, so use hashtag NBA. Still got over 3,000 plus, 3,500 plus watching here, so use hashtag NBA. Michael wants to know the top seeds of the East and the West here.
Oh, man, if I had to say right now, I'll say Milwaukee because I don't know where Kawhi's going. So I'll say Milwaukee in the East. And then, man, I know it's going to sound crazy. I'm going to say Utah. I will say Utah in the West, Denver right there with them as well. And again, seeding in the West this year isn't going to matter as much, especially with Golden State, with Clay's injury being the ultimate wild card. But I will say Utah and Milwaukee are your top seeds after the regular season.
All right, folks, from FRTO Band 1-2, if Michael Porter Jr. is healthy, what is his impact this season?
It's hard to say because he hasn't really played since high school. So even if he's healthy, it's still a big assumption that he's going to be a big-time player. But if he gives you anything at all, that's huge for Denver because that's already a contending squad in the West. So if he gives you 8 points per game, like that, as your 10th man, like that would be huge for Denver. So he's certainly a wild card, not only for the Nuggets, but for the Western Conference.
All right, Gavin Snow, could Golden State trade D'Lo for Wiggins?
You can financially, but why would you?
Yeah, why would you? You also cannot do it until December.
December 15th, I believe.
Unless it's part of the same sign-in trade, which I don't know why they do that.
No.
So you have to wait till December. You're right, 15th there.
I think the Wiggins trade anywhere has fallen apart at this point, which is hilarious because Karl Anthony Towns is not a fan of his, and now he has to play with him again.
All right, Suzanne Hansen wants to know who is the two worst teams from each conference. Hornets.
Charlotte in the East or Washington.
Hornets.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. Washington probably second worst.
I don't want to say the Suns.
And I like Phoenix's core, but they haven't proven that they can do anything with it. Although I think bringing in Monty Williams will make a difference there as their head coach.
They're not the worst team in the NBA, but it might just end up being Memphis, frankly. Yeah. They're so young.
Yeah. Memphis or Phoenix there, and then who do we say? Washington and Charlotte. I'll give you two there. Those are the bottom four teams in the NBA.
Good. All right, from Gene, is Al Horford a good fit for the 76ers?
I'm intrigued by it. I think as his career ages, he might actually be better fit as a stretch four because he can shoot the three ball there. I'm intrigued to see how that fit with Joel Embiid works. I think you'll see a lot of times Embiid check out and then Horford slide and play some five as well. Philadelphia, for me, is a wild card team because I don't love them losing Jimmy Butler. I don't love the Tobias Harris contract, per se. But I think as of now, until the Raptors secure Kawhi, which is a big question mark, probably the second best team for this year in the East, don't you think? After Milwaukee? Because Brooklyn, to me, without Durant, is not better than Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe Boston comes together with Kemba.
I could see Indiana being a surprise. Yeah, but I think you're right.
They just don't have the star.
The Sixers, yeah.
So we'll see. I think it's an intriguing fit. Not ready to say it's a good fit for the Sixers.
All right, from Funky Bros wants to know about a LeBron comeback season. Is it really a comeback if it's
He
LeBron.
Still had a monster season. It's not like he missed 50 games. What, he missed 30 games or so? I mean, he was still an all-star. Didn't make All-NBA for the first time in his career. I believe maybe he didn't make it as a rookie. I think when you play almost over 50 games, I don't know if you can be eligible for comeback player of the year. I do think what he and the Lakers do will be the ultimate story in the NBA next year, but not comeback player of the year.
All right, Gabrielle wants to know, do you see the Nets going to the Eastern Conference Finals next season?
Not next season. Unless Durant comes back and is healthy, which even if he is, I don't see them playing him next year. I don't see it next season. Years after that, they will absolutely be in the mix to win the East.
All right, again, folks, we'll keep those coming there. I could see them hit on the seedings, like who they match up against.
Yeah.
Like if they end up being the 4 seed and they get the Bucks.
There's a slight possibility because if Kyrie has just an off-the-chart season and those young players continue to develop, Jared Allen takes another step, Dinwiddie takes another step. Yeah, they could be in the mix, especially if Kawhi goes to the West.
All right, B-King Gaming, whatever it is. What team do you think will shock us next season?
That's a good one. You kind of mentioned it earlier. I think Indiana is a sneaky Eastern Conference Finals possibility. It's not it wouldn't be a surprise to me, but on the surface, Utah to the either Western Conference or NBA Finals, I think, is a possibility. Those Pelicans, making a playoff run, I think could be a surprise in the NBA. Those are some of the teams I'd keep an eye on.
I think the Knicks could be a surprise playoff team as the 8 seed, which in the end maybe isn't the best thing for them in the end. But right, folks, type S if you guys are already subscribed. We got over 3,000 of you guys watching here. Also pull up the numbers since RIP my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stream. It's dead.
Well, we have a new goal,
which is awesome. So make sure you get us to 125K here, but RIP that dream. So type S. Give some shout-outs here, Harrison. Oh, 123499 is the figure.
Got Zach, Jared. We've got Manny there. God, they're flying in so fast. Dalton, TSM, Chevy coming in. You
gotta go quick here.
I'm trying, man.
All right, I got it.
Tyler.
Ballin, Jared, Golden, TSM, Monkey, Out, Calvin, Brandon, Yolanda, Gavin, Yolanda again, Ott, Josh, Brandon. Thank you guys very much. Keep typing in those S's there. We are now over the, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 4.
So less than 1,500 away from 125K. Help us get there.
All right, Mark McKay wants to know, where does Boogie go?
Oh, man. I still think the Lakers are the slight favorite there. We kind of stumbled onto the Houston idea. I think that would be intriguing, but I'll go Lakers 1, Spurs 2.
Spurs, baby, let's go.
And then Hawks a distant third there.
Make it happen, please. All right, Andrew YT wants to know, are the Blazers a championship team?
I don't think so. I think they could be a top 4 team in the West again. Look, last year was a nice story, making the conference finals, but didn't really – they get swept by Golden State. I know they were competitive in those games, had leads in those games. I just don't think they have enough horses to win a championship.
I think that's fair. I think they'll be a top 4 seed in the West
They're
again,
always going to struggle defensively with Lillard and McCollum. Like, I'm not saying you break them up, but you're just limited on that end of the floor with those two.
All right, next up from August LTU, what is the Oklahoma City Thunder future?
That is a terrific question. I have no idea. They're committed to Westbrook, and do they really have a choice? Not really. If Paul George comes back healthy and plays an entire healthy season, that'll be big for them, because before the shoulder became a problem last year, they were in the top 4 in the West, and then they tanked at the end of the season. I think they can be in the mix, for a top 5 or 6 seed in the West, but it's been proven that with Westbrook as your guy, you're not going to make a deep run in the playoffs. Haven't won a playoff series since Kevin Durant left.
All right, from Beds on Fort, is Rubio to the Suns risking Devin Booker?
I don't think so, because I think this is more about, look, we're committed to Booker being a 2 guard. They flirted with him being the point guard last year. I don't think they like that. He's certainly going to be a creator as that off guard, but you don't want him being the primary ball handler there. You don't want his usage rate being super high. I actually like the fit with Rubio. I do think they overpaid, though.
Yeah, I don't think it's a risk for Devin Booker there, because Rubio's just going to pass the ball off to Devin.
Yeah, Booker's still your main guy there.
All right, folks, we have a giveaway for you as well, especially if you've been watching for almost 2 hours straight now. If you guys want a free jersey, we'll hook you up with our friends over at MyBookie. Head over to chatsports.com/NBA now. Use promo code CHATNBA. Again, that's chatsports.com/NBA now. Use promo code ChatNBA, sign up and deposit, place your first bet, then email promo@chatsports.com, and we'll get you guys an NBA jersey. Harrison, who would you want?
Yeah, what do you think the best jersey is out there right now?
I don't have a Luka one. That'd be fun.
Mavericks Boban? Anybody?
Stop it. Stop it.
That's a good question. Luka Mavs was a big one last year. Kawhi, wherever he ends up, is obviously
Melo jersey.
Melo Hawks jersey.
Bulls legend Carmelo Anthony.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of good. I like the long names because the rainbow on the back. Giannis, of course, would be one of those.
A Zaza jersey. I'm just triggering Jimmy here.
I know Jimmy wants to get his Zaza Pachulia jersey. We'll see if we can make that happen.
All right, folks. Again, that is chatsports.com/NBA now. Use promo code ChatNBA. Sign up and deposit. Place your first bet. And then email promo@chatsports.com. We'll get you guys hooked up with an NBA jersey. All right, from LeBron James, what's your favorite type of sandwich? Okay, everyone chime in, by the way. What's your favorite sandwich?
You guys have probably seen me bring them in here. I'm on an Italian sub kick right now.
Okay.
A little prosciutto, get some salami on there, some pepperoni. Mix in a little cream cheese, you're good to go. We actually threw a fried egg on one.
By the way, I don't find the Italian meats and cream cheese sandwich to be good.
I love them. Okay. I love Italian meats. So that's what I'm on right now. The standard PB&J is always
a good choice. Any type of chicken fried sandwich is delicious, by the way.
Yeah,
those are good.
Chicken sandwiches, Chick-fil-A.
Someone says I am cream cheese, so I guess that's fine. A meatball sub sandwich. People are now saying their favorite subs, which I guess counts there. If you type in hot dog, you're wrong, because a hot dog is not a sandwich.
Okay, by the way, what was this taco thing yesterday?
Oh, it's Taco Tuesday.
Got into no the debate though. I think Mitch tweeted it out.
Is it a taco if it doesn't have meat?
The only time that's a yes is a bean and cheese taco. Any other scenario, it's a no. It's a no. Okay, fair enough. A burrito.
I said breakfast. Like again, it's not breakfast tacos. It's all breakfast burritos. That's the difference there.
Okay, I'll give you that.
No one calls it a breakfast taco. They call it a breakfast burrito.
I'll concede there.
All right, Jared Sanchez. Do you think Fultz will bounce back with the Magic this season?
I just don't. That's one of those. I'm gonna have to see it to believe it. I mean, the guy forgot how to shoot. Like, I still don't understand. I don't understand how you can be the #1 pick in the NBA and you forget how to shoot a basketball. Like, it's hard to watch, man. The videos that the Sixers kept tweeting out, or people who covered the team when he was trying to relearn how to shoot. I hope he does, because I feel bad for the kid, or to a certain extent. He's still making a ton of money to not even know how to play basketball right now. But right now, I'd have to say no. I have to see it first.
All right, William Gonzalez. Does Westbrook make his team worse with his stat chasing?
You know, before this last year, I was pro Westbrook. I shifted a little bit this year. I'm not convinced he's a winning piece. Now, if he's your second guy, you can win with him, but he's such a bad decision maker in the most important parts of games. And
just chucks threes.
Yeah, or just bad turnovers. Like, I don't think they're ever winning a title with him as their primary player. I'll put it that way.
All right, folks, if this is your first time watching Chat Sports, let us know. Type in newbie if it is your first time watching Chat Sports here. Type it in.
Over 3,000 of you live, so type in newbie if you are new to us. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV is where you can subscribe, find out when we go live, all of that good stuff. Oh, we got Michael as a newbie. We got Sam as a newbie. Oh, they're flying in now. Yeah. Kyle, Andrew, Jared. Tommy's a newbie. Cam's a newbie. Tyranny, I don't think I read that right. Julius is a newbie. Lots of new viewers here on Chat Sports. Tell a friend.
Yeah, tell a friend.
To subscribe.
And subscribe. We'll keep giving shout-outs here. So if you're a newbie, Sean, Busboy, BK Gaming, make sure you guys are subscribed here on Chat Sports. We'll keep you covered with all the NBA news and rumors. Of course, we'll eventually get Kawhi, I'm sure, at some point. Meanwhile, type in OG if you've been here before.
Lots of seasoned veterans, I'm sure, is our listenership. I know Tom's got his loyal following here on Chat Sports. Be like Tom. Be an OG.
Yeah.
Type that in the comment section.
Tamir,
have a few coming in.
Jackie Chan,
Lots
Tim's
of
Hot Takes, Matt, William, Busboy. Now, wait a minute, Busboy, you said you were a newbie, too.
Jackie Chan.
You liar. Martinez, Josh, a couple different Joshes there. Test. Idiots in there. Gaming Tez, Footwork. Type in OG there and make sure you guys are subscribed. We're approaching that 125K mark. We are now at 123,538. Get us to 6-0. Get us there real quick. So keep it flowing there, folks, in a little bit. All right, Aaron DeGuzma, did the Spurs get to the NBA Finals?
No. Absolutely not.
Unless Boogie breaks out.
As long as Pop is there, they're going to be competitive. I think they were the most surprising playoff team last year. I did not think that was a great roster, and they were almost beat the Nuggets in the first round, lost that in 7. They're going to be about one of a dozen teams that makes a playoff push in the West, but they are not a title contender.
All right, Felicia Drakeford, they want to know, what's the Lakers' next move if they get Kawhi?
Fill out the roster with cheap vets.
Beg Danny
like Jared
Green
Dudley
to come.
Get maybe Danny Green on the mid-level.
I think Rondo comes back.
Yeah.
Maybe JaVale comes back.
Because you really can only do vet minimum deals if you bring in Kawhi.
Exactly.
Someone can take the mid-level, but that can only go to one person. Maybe Boogie's a candidate for that for them. But yeah, you sign a bunch of cheap veterans that can either shoot or defend.
I'm looking at the rest of the roster here that could make some sense. Maybe you get Justin Holiday. Could be a fit there.
Maybe
Quinn Cook makes some sense.
Roll
back the meme team of Lance and Rondo.
It's
and
the one
JaVale.
downside to, and of course they were going to do it waiting for Kawhi, but you lose out on a lot of guys signing that you could have brought in for cheap.
Trey Burke.
You know, I like Trey Burke. I think
Vince Carter.
He had a nice season with Dallas last year. Was playing well for the Knicks before that Porzingis trade. I think he could be an option as well. He can really score.
All right, from Akash Nath. How will the Mavs do this year? I think it just means how will the Mavs do this year?
Yeah, well, they're not getting Dwight Howard, I'll tell you that. How will they do this year? TBD. Got to see what else they do in free agency. If you add Danny Green, I think you're in the mix for a playoff spot. I think if you add Green and Morris, you are a playoff team. Because I think at that, of course, this all depends on Porzingis, right? Like, if Porzingis comes back and is either not quite ready to go or he's a shell of himself, then you're in trouble. But you're banking on him being the player he was before, or at least very close to it. So a lot yet to be determined for the Mavericks. If they add a couple more pieces, they'll be in the playoff mix.
All right, Carson Best or Bessie wants to know, who has the best signature shoe? I'm not a shoe guy. I'll be honest with you. I don't really care.
I bought some Paul Georges recently that I like, but LeBron always has good kicks. Kyrie has a good shoe line. I actually don't like Durant shoes that much. I'm not a big fan of the shoes he usually rolls out there. I like the Kobe's because they're not super high tops. I like his shoe line. So those are a few that I enjoy.
I did like the Curry grandma shoes. Those were fun. The all-white Under Armours that look tennis-looking shoes.
Those are so bad.
The nurse shoes. All right, Gavin Snow wants to know if Clay moves to the 3 in this new look Warriors team.
I think when he's healthy, your starting 5 will be a 3-guard lineup with him having to guard some forwards there, which he can do. He's done that in the past with D'Lo and Curry in the backcourt. A lot of pressure on him and Draymond to defend at a very high level because D'Lo and Curry is going to be one of the worst defensive backcourts in the NBA.
Biggie Broham, did Magic Johnson step down so he can legally tamper for the Lakers?
I like this conspiracy theory, and I can't remember who tweeted this out, so if you're watching somehow and you tweeted it, you can take the credit. Someone tweeted recently, I think it may have been like a media member, has someone ever won an executive of the year after resigning?
Magic does not get credit for all these moves. No, he doesn't.
No, if they get Kawhi, though.
No, he doesn't get credit. He doesn't get credit. He wanted to just tweet his random, obvious takes on social media and do whatever he wanted to do. He didn't want to put in the effort there. Yeah. All right, Boston Sports with a Boston Celtics question. Shocker there. If the Celtics are going to make any more moves, what moves could you see them make?
They're just pretty limited money-wise.
I think they're pretty close to being done,
point.
Frankly.
I'm not sure. Have they used their mid-level yet? I'll have to double check.
Yeah, Cancer was.
Cancer's the mid-level.
Because it was the room exception for them.
Look, it is what it is for Boston. You've recovered about as well as could have been expected. You get in Kimba after losing Kyrie. You bring in Cantor after losing Horford. Yeah, you've downgraded a little bit there, but that's about as good as you could have done after losing those two guys.
All right, Gene wants to know if it's NBA 2K or NBA Live.
2K.
It's obviously 2K. NBA Live is trash.
Live tanked about 10 years ago.
Live was never good.
Yeah.
Like NBA Live is terrible. That's what happens when EA Sports is competition in their NBA market. It's bad.
NBA Live 03, I scored 112 points with Jason Kidd on the New Jersey Nets in a game.
2K is the only correct answer here. So, Gene, thank you for that one, but it's definitely 2K. There, I just merged Bojan and Boban. So, great start to this one here. Boban Marjanovic.
Boban. Tom is on the struggle bus. I'm going to take over here. Boban Marjanovic and the Dallas Mavericks have agreed to a deal. 2 years, $7 million appears to be the contract there. So they've got a new sitter in Dallas as Tom cannot get past this. Hey,
taking the L right now,
type T
guys.
in the chat to make fun of Tom right now for how much of a disaster that was a second ago. But yes, Dallas has a backup center in Boban. You okay there, buddy?
Boban Marjanovic.
It's okay. It happens.
I'm sorry, guys. That was a disaster. All right. Boban to Dallas. I actually don't mind that move. It gives them some extra depth at center, which they needed.
You get a banger inside. That probably means you don't bring back Salamejri. So, yeah, it's a decent move there.
Lots of T's, all very well deserved right there because that was a complete disaster. I'm sorry, guys. All right, the Mavs' current lineup, meanwhile, they still need somebody else there.
Yeah.
A Danny Green type.
Look, we can say it until the cows come home. Danny Green is the guy they want, and I think they should go after Marcus Morris too. You can still get both of those guys, especially if you stretch waive Courtney Lee, which would free up another $7.5 million. You bring in one or both of those guys, you've at least salvaged your free agency.
Yeah, they're not going to be the full-on winners. That would have been the pipe dream of Kemba and Al Horford there. But Boban comes in. There we go. And it gives them extra depth there at center, which they needed a more true center.
Yeah, they don't have, like Powell and Cleveland play a lot of five, and Kristaps can play five, but none of those guys are, guys that are just in there to rebound, mix it up defensively. Boban can do a little bit of that.
Again, so Boban here coming to the Dallas Mavericks on a 2-year, $7 million deal to Dallas on this one. What grade do you give this one again here?
A B-. I think I would not have given him a 2-year deal here, but I think overall he at least fills a little bit of a need and can play a few minutes for them.
All right, again, so Boban coming to the Dallas Mavericks. This was an older one. Malcolm Brogdon to the Pacers and the Bucks. Again, I think that was a nice move for Indiana.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then, more recently, obviously, this interesting trade between the Hawks and the Grizzlies. Chandler Parsons, Memphis gets out of that contract. They take a couple expiring contracts as well. I think a couple of teams
crazy move.
Yeah, moving on from pieces as they enter free agency next year.
All right, so that was the trade there. Miles Plumlee, Solomon Hill going to Memphis. Chandler Parsons goes to Atlanta. This also does free up a roster spot for Atlanta. It's not a move to get Parsons. The Grizzlies wanted to buy out Parsons. They couldn't agree to a figure there.
Yeah.
I think it'll be easier to split it up and maybe buy out those two guys.
Parsons ain't agreeing to any buyout with him making, $24 million or whatever it is this year. They could stretch waive him. I don't think they will do that because the Hawks aren't in position to win this year. So we'll see if he's got anything left. It appears he does not.
All right, so here's the Hawks lineup as we sit right now. Parsons going to come off the bench there.
As much as I joke, he played okay down the stretch for Memphis last year once they were full-on tank mode, realizing that they are in rebuild mode there. He was at least able to stay a little bit more healthy last year, hit some shots, but yeah, not moving the needle. You mentioned opening that roster spot. Maybe they consider a DeMarcus Cousins. You've got Alex Len there. That's really your only center on the roster, though.
All right, folks. The Grizzlies, meanwhile, we'll list Andre Iguodala on there, but I think he's going to get bought out.
I think so, and I think there's going to be a lot of teams in play there. The Lakers certainly. I think the Clippers will be interested. The Rockets certainly would like to get him after their free agency has not gone well. Maybe the Nets, because Durant being out this year, you can plug Iggy in as your starting small forward. So certainly a lot of teams could be involved in Iggy if he does get bought out by Memphis.
I will make note, Iguodala's old agent, before he got bought out, was Rob Pelinka. Just throwing that out there as a connection.
Does feel like the Lakers would be the front runner.
Not listed on this lineup is Solomon Hill. Look, that was a wild overpay from the start.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense.
That was that free agent year where the cap skyrocketed. Everyone got overpaid.
The Mozgov money, baby.
Alan Crabb got overpaid. Solomon Hill got overpaid. I think Biyombo was a part of that free agency class. So, yeah, certainly Solomon Hill securing the bag for one more year.
Meanwhile, of course, the latest here on Kawhi Leonard, that no one really knows when he makes a decision or where he ends up.
I mean, keeping his circle tight isn't fair to describe what he's doing right now. Typically you see a leak and one of the top reporters catches wind of something. Has not happened here. They have done a good job of keeping this very quiet, and I think it's anybody's game right now. If I had to rank the order, I'll go Raptors, slight edge, Lakers right there on their heels, Clippers, distant-ish 3.
I kind of think it's Lakers over Toronto right now. I mean, look, the LA Lakers are convinced they're going to get them.
I think they certainly had momentum yesterday, it seemed. Now that another 24 hours has passed and he's met with the Raptors, though, you wonder if that shifted back a little bit.
Raptors did get the last meeting, so maybe that helps them in the end. Maybe it sways Kawhi back. I don't think he had his decision made yet.
No, I truly don't believe he has. And again, he just is coming off, that finals run with the Raptors. Their season ended about 2 weeks ago. So he is not going to rush this decision whatsoever between the Clippers, Lakers, and Raptors.
All right, so what's your roster pitch or your pitch here if you're the Toronto Raptors?
Oh, a couple of things. One, we're the favorites in the East if you come back. That would be the pitch there. Two, you are loved forever in Canada and can continue that train. And I think those are the main things. And three, hey, we don't care. Come back in a short-term deal. Enter free agency again next year as the top guys. Next year's class is much weaker. I think running it back with the same core is really the pitch there, with you being clearly the guy here.
All right, the Raptors' potential lineup looks very similar to what it was when they won the championship like a month ago.
Yeah, right now you got Norman Powell in there at the 2. We'll see. I think Danny Green would go back there if they do secure Kawhi.
I agree.
But look, depth. Anunoby would be a guy that would get back into the rotation this season as he battled injuries last year. I'm thrilled to see Pascal Siakam just continue to improve. He was terrific for them, especially in the NBA Finals.
All right, the Lakers, meanwhile, what's your pitch to Kawhi if you're in charge?
Be the face of the biggest franchise in the sport. And don't worry about LeBron and Anthony Davis. You're our guy. That's the key for them here. You have to sell him that you're the number one guy here, because that's never been the case with a LeBron James team. You have to sell him on that. I think it's kind of a hard sell because that's never quite worked in the past with pitching guys with LeBron, but I think those are some of the points there.
All right, so here's a potential Lakers lineup with Kawhi. I guess LeBron at that point really does play some more of the point guard role. You can just put a shooter out there.
Yeah, maybe you bring back a Rondo, but even if you do, I think he's a part of that second unit to run that offense of the second group when that gets finalized, as well as they continue to fill out the roster. Of course, they added Jared Dudley, drafted Taylor Horton-Tucker. Caruso's probably going to be back. So,
kind of cheating putting him on there, but they need bodies.
They need bodies, so he will probably be back. Plug in any veteran shooter next to those 4. That's probably what your starting 5's looking like there.
All right, folks, if you can get the exact time and date of the Kawhi announcement, email us at Kawhi@chatsports.com. We'll give you a little prize there. Mine still stands of 12:06 p.m. Central Time on July 4th.
I'll say tomorrow, July 4th at night.
And that's only if he goes to one of the LA teams, by the way.
Bigger fireworks, Kawhi signing tomorrow night, or the actual fireworks that will be taking place when he does sign? Because I think he signs at night on July 4th.
Night? Oh, brutal.
Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be like 9:30.
Nobody knows, but email Kawhi. If you get it right, you'll get a prize. Or my other option, he signs at like 3 a.m. at some random point.
I feel like that's past. I feel like if he was going to be middle of the night, he would have done that by now. But I'm sticking with July 4th at night while everybody is drinking, eating, and enjoying some fireworks.
Kawhi will get up in the middle of the night to recharge his battery and decide where he's going to
do us a favor, Kawhi. Sign today. We don't want or sign Friday. Wait till Friday. Don't ruin our July 4th.
All right, the Clippers, meanwhile, what's their pitch to Kawhi?
You could be part of the more low-key team in LA, and you still get to enjoy LA. Don't have to deal with the LeBron saga, the Anthony Day, all that drama that's going to be surrounding the Lakers this year. You get to play for a championship head coach in Doc Rivers, which I think is a legitimate selling point over the Lakers as well. And you sell them on the depth you have as well. Hey, look, you don't have to play 38 minutes a night. You go to the Lakers, you're going to have to play a lot more because they don't have nearly as much depth. We can limit your minutes. Don't have to play all the back-to-backs. I think those are your selling points from the Clippers' point of view.
All right, the Clippers, meanwhile, this would be their lineup. There is some really good bench pieces there. You got Lou and Montrezl Harrell, who I guess help as like your super sixth men.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the best bench duos I've seen in the last several years in the NBA. They were.
Yeah.
It says a lot when 3 Six Man of the Year finalists, 2 of them were on one team. That was the case with Harrell and Lou Williams. Look for Harrell to possibly start this year, but when it comes to crunch time, Williams will be in that lineup as well.
And you also have guys like Shamet off the bench there. Beverly will rotate in and out too. Harkless could come off the bench too. So it's a good overall.
They go 10 deep
unit, but it's not the superstar appeal there. All right, folks, make sure you're subscribed to us here on Chat Sports. Hit us up with that subscription. If you're watching right now and you haven't subscribed yet, let's go. What are you waiting for here?
Get us to 125K. We're less than 1,500 away. YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Tell a friend and subscribe. We're going to be live throughout the rest of free agency as we await Kawhi Leonard's decision. Boogie, some other Danny Green, also
Marcus Morris, Rondo,
JaVale McGee,
the meme team free agents,
Lance Stevenson. Also, the NFL, look, training camp's a few weeks away, so our NFL coverage is going to kick into gear as well. You find it all at youtube.com/ChatSportsTV.
Again, so the latest right now on Kawhi, frankly, as we just hit the 560 mark there, there isn't really a whole lot. We don't know when he's going to sign. Nobody really knows. RIP, RDA. He was wrong.
It was a good try.
Good try, good effort there.
He'll probably still take credit if they choose the Lakers,
of course
even if it's 2 days later.
But I don't have a great feel for when the decision will actually come in. I do, though, lean towards the Lakers still right now.
I'm leaning slightly to the Raptors. Like, if I had to do percentages, I'll go 40% Raptors, 30% Lakers, or 35% Lakers, which gives me
doing the math, which
25% Clippers. 40, 35, 25.
I think you're too high on LAC.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I'd put 15 for LAC, take that extra, difference there and add it both to the Lakers.
I can buy that.
It's.
I do think the Clippers are third. If I'm confident about anything, they're third out of the 3.
Yeah, and of course, who knows what will end up happening here? But let us know in the comment section, folks. Which team do you think Kawhi will sign with? TRO for the Raptors, LAC for the Clippers, LAL for the Lakers. Keep those votes flowing in here live on YouTube. In the meantime, let's talk about DeMarcus Cousins. I take credit for this. Please credit me on Twitter. DeMarcus Cousins and the Spurs. This was my idea, and DeMar DeRozan has spoken with Boogie about joining up.
Yeah, the report is he has spoken with DeRozan specifically, but has also been in contact with other players around the NBA. Look, we heard yesterday that Adrian Wojnarowski said his market's dead. I mean, there's just – and that's kind of obvious, right? A lot of teams don't have money at this point, and the teams that do aren't, willing to pay him the money he wants. So he might just have to take a vet minimum type deal. Maybe the Lakers throw the mid-level at him, but other than that, he's not going to get paid much.
I think the 3 that make the most sense here are the Spurs, and I'll make note, just because DeMar's talking with him doesn't mean the front office and coaching staff wants him. That's a big difference there. DeMar does not make the decisions down in San Antonio. The Lakers have money, especially if they miss on Kawhi Leonard, and the Hawks have the roster space, some money, and needed center too.
I'll throw the Rockets in there as a distant 4th. I could see Daryl Morey. Panic move, let's bring in Boogie because he's a name, and we promised our fan base we were going to mix it up this offseason. But, yeah, I think those are the 3 you focus on there. And you look at what he did last year. Look, when he was healthy, he played fairly well, and in the 2 games the Warriors won in the finals, I'll make note of, he played well in those games as well. It's consistency and health at this point in his career.
Yeah, and the health, I think, is the big reason why teams are skittish about adding him.
I still think, 1 year for less than $5 million, you would think more teams would be more interested.
All right, so would you want your team to sign Boogie? Let us know in the comments section. Also include your team in the process there. I would. I think he's a worthwhile gamble, especially at this point where so many players are off the free agency market here.
Yeah, if you're getting him for the vet min, he's definitely worth it at this point. This is a guy that just a couple years ago was having a borderline MVP season.
The report was that the Mavs didn't want Boogie. They, of course, signed Boban today, so that kind of confirmed that one. Marcus Morris, meanwhile, they are interested.
By the way, was Boban one of the guys on their list that they're, quote, more interested in?
Yes,
If he was, that's actually incredible. But I still think Marcus Morris should be a guy they look at. I kind of think this will happen, Tom. If they do not get Danny Green, I think they will go in on Marcus Morris. I do not see at this point them getting both. I still think they should try to get both. They can make that work financially, but for whatever reason, it appears they're not as high on Marcus Morris.
Okay, here's their potential lineup with Marcus Morris. You can throw Boban in there as well, maybe in front of, I don't know, Berea maybe, and they just go big. I don't know what the bench rotation really looks like there.
And I think more than anything, what you're pointing out there is they've got a lot of depth. They just need more frontline players. Morris, I think, would be a six-man type of player for him. Him and Seth Curry would probably check in together to provide some shooting and scoring off the bench there.
All right, folks, the Mavs have some interest there in Marcus Morris. We'll see how much it actually ends up being. By the way, folks, can you do us all a favor and hook us up with a like on this video? Let me get the numbers here for you, but please do that, right, Harrison?
Yeah, like this video, get those numbers up. We got over 2,500 of you live, so that should mean, what, 2,500 plus likes, right?
Yes.
Hashtag math there.
And we know you guys don't automatically go to like it like you do with like a normal video, so we understand that. So hook us up there.
Yeah, hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button.
Look at the numbers here.
YouTube.com/ChatSportsTV. Type L in the chat if you've already liked the video.
642 now. It just went up. I wonder if we're getting an exact 666, by the way, or if YouTube will ban that. Yeah.
Going dark here on Chat Sports.
It's fun, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do here, right?
Yeah.
Type L in the chat
really bad devil jokes.
if
I'm not going
you
to
have
now.
already liked. Lots of L's flying in. We got Paul, we got Nick, we got Man Dunn, we got Caesar, we got TJ Beast loading, we've got Patty Gaming, we've got Ruben, we've got
660.
Chevy, Joshua.
What you gonna
Lots
do,
of
YouTube?
people liking here
661.
on this video. We appreciate that. Keep helping us out.
Give me the 666. 664.
Man, Detroit
Stand by.
is liked.
Oh, it went down one. Wow, you guys are no fun.
We
Stand
got
by.
Susie, we got Mark.
There it
we
is. It got
Sean,
666.
We got Kawhi.
Got the screenshot.
Hey, Kawhi Leonard liked this video.
Thanks, Kawhi.
Hey,
Kawhi.
where are you going?
Where are you going?
Where are you going?
Let us know. I also got the screenshot of 666, by the way. That's fun for me.
Too dark for me, Tom.
Yeah, you guys are lame. All right, Richard Jefferson Harrison. The tweet said he's going to play, but he was just playing, though.
Yeah, he ain't coming back. He hopped on Golic and Wingo this morning, said, yeah, I'm not coming back out of retirement. I am good hanging out, playing some golf out in California, wherever he may be. This is for the best. I mean, 39 years old. Maybe the Lakers would have had some interest
They
there.
definitely would have.
He could still probably hit an occasional three-pointer there, but he is not.
Veteran bench influence.
Yeah.
That's all he's.
The cliche, hey, he's a veteran leader.
Yeah, so we're sure many of you guys saw those. That tweet, I should say, it's not going to happen there.
It's not happening. RJ is staying retired.
But which player would you like to see come out of retirement?
Oh, man. Nate Robinson.
Oh,
I didn't say him earlier.
Is he actually retired, though?
Well, I don't know if he has filled out his papers, but he's playing in the Big Three right now. Dude, you know who's tearing up the Big Three? I don't know if you ever watched this. I actually find it very entertaining. I think it's pretty fun. Amari Stoudemire is just murdering. Like, he played in China this past year.
He's still kind of in shape.
And so I actually think he could come back and give someone 10 minutes per game. I'll throw him in there as well.
Lots of Kobe's, lots of Wade's in there. Someone send Greg
Pierce,
Oden.
Tim
You're not allowed to have 100-year-old men playing the
Darren
NBA, though.
Collison. Yes.
Outcast says Allen Iverson. Yes, that's my all-time favorite player. So I would love to see it happen.
He was washed in that first year of the Big Three, by the way.
Don't care.
Did not
AI
look
is
good.
the best.
Stojakovic coming in there.
All right.
Jerry West, I think he's a little aged.
Bones might not hold up there. All right, the Warriors, meanwhile, have rescinded their qualifying offer on Quinn Cook.
Yeah, which I find a little surprising. I mean, it's not like his cap hold was that huge. I think it was like $1.6 million or something like that. Elite three-point shooter, over 40%.
You should be. If you don't shoot efficiently with the Warriors team, it means you're just a bad shooter.
Fair point. I think that's a fair question, too. Is Quinn Cook decent, or was he in the absolute perfect position? I think there's a fair argument that he was in a perfect situation.
Yeah, so he's not going to end up going back to the Warriors there, it seems like. I think the Lakers make a lot of sense for him, by the way.
Again, the Lakers got to fill out their roster with cheap bodies. Quinn Cook can shoot a little bit for them coming off their bench. I could certainly see that as a possibility.
All right, folks. So Quinn Cook there not going to go back to the Golden State Warriors. He is on his way out. The Warriors rescinded that qualifying offer, makes him an unrestricted free agent. All right, folks, we have a deal for you from our friends over at MyBookie. Head over to chatsports.com/NBA now. Use that promo code ChatNBA for a 100% deposit bonus. So you put down $50, they're going to give you an extra $50. And once you sign up and deposit and then go place your first bet, email promo@chatsports.com. That is promo@chatsports.com. Give you a free NBA jersey. And you can't get, this is a legit NBA jersey, by the way, not one of the Chinese knockoffs ones.
And it's also not, this isn't a drawing to win a jersey. No, you will get a jersey if you sign up, deposit, and place that first bet. Again, chatsports.com/NBA now. Use that promo code ChatNBA to get that 100% deposit bonus.
Again, one more time there, chatsports.com/NBA now. Use promo code ChatNBA, then email promo@chatsports.com. All right, next up, Wilson Chandler, as we recap some of the signings from late last night and this morning. Wilson Chandler to the Nets on a vet minimum deal.
Yeah, a depth move, especially for this year with Durant probably missing most of the season. Can still score a little bit. Versatile defender. Best days certainly are behind Wilson Chandler, but anytime you load your roster with superstars, you got to fill out the rest of your roster spots. And don't know how much he'll actually play with the amount of young bodies they have, but they have a lot of guards. Don't have a lot of 3s and 4s right now. Wilson Chandler could play 10 to 15 minutes per game for them.
All right, Emmanuel Mudiay is going to the Utah Jazz. That one's also on a vet minimum deal, in large part apparently because of their developmental group.
Yeah, look, Mudiay thought initially that his market might be a little better coming off a career year with the Knicks where he almost averaged 15 points per game. Once that dried up, him and his camp got very interested in Utah, who's known for developing young guards. You're learning from Mike Conley, who's there, Donovan Mitchell, a couple of good influences on Mudiay. I think that makes some sense there.
And then they also picked up Jeff Green, 2 moves I really, really like.
Yeah, look, the Jazz are loading up on depth.
It's great.
They don't have a true high-end superstar. Conley's a fringe all-star. Mitchell's a fringe all-star. Gobert is in there as well. But they got 7 or 8 guys that can all really score. And they added shooting with Bogdanovich as well. Ingles can shoot the lights out of it. I like what Utah's done. They really have shored up this roster to make a run this year, in my opinion.
So is Utah a legit title contender for next season? Type Y for yes, N for no. As weird as it sounds, I think yes.
I think so, especially for this year. That's the key because I don't think Brooklyn's in play yet. Too much uncertainty so far for the Lakers. And, if they add Kawhi, I think they're one of the favorites, if not the favorite. But, yeah, I think Utah is in the mix to compete for a title next year.
I mostly see yeses there, by the way, folks. Meanwhile, Jared Dudley and the Lakers, they agreed to a 1-year, $2.6 million deal. This is where Dudley wanted to be.
Yeah, and that's a good point to make there. He wanted to be there. He wants to chase a title at this point in his career. Had a good influence on Brooklyn's young roster last year. Now he wants to be part of a more contending team. These are the type of guys the Lakers are going to fill out their roster with. They can't go any more into the cap until Kawhi makes a decision. So what do? You sign a guy like Jared Dudley, can knock down some open threes for you, not going to cost you anything against the cap.
So which NBA team do you guys hate the most? Let us know in the comments section there. Last time we did this earlier in the show, Lakers won.
A lot of Lakers.
And I assume they will win again here.
Well, and I think for a couple of reasons, right? One, if you don't like the Lakers, you hate the Lakers. And two, it's kind of the same with LeBron. If you don't like LeBron, you either like or hate LeBron. There's no real middle ground with him. Very polarizing player, obviously. Some Knicks flying in. At this point, can you even really hate the Knicks? I feel like only Knicks fans hate the Knicks. Everybody else
no one hates the Knicks more than their own fan base.
We just laugh at the Knicks because they continue to be a laughingstock.
All right, Rodney McGruder going to the LA Clippers on a 3-year, $15 million deal.
Yeah, a little rich there. That contract's not going to be official until Kawhi.
It's just like the Dorian Finney-Smith deal.
Yeah, see, but it's even an extra mil per year there for McGruder. I guess he's a little more polished as a scorer and a shooter than Finney-Smith is, although I think Dorian's a better defender. But he's a good defender as well, McGruder is. They're selling Kawhi on depth here is what they're doing.
If I remember correctly, this was the guy the Heat waived, right? And the Clippers picked up at the end of the year?
That sounds correct.
I'm pretty sure that's correct there.
Yes.
In fact, I'm very confident it's correct. I just confirmed it in my own ear. All right, Darius Miller also going back to the Pelicans, 2 years, $14.25.
Side note here, the reason that you got to do 2 years here, it's for cap purposes. because they had his rights there. That's the only way they can manipulate it where it doesn't count as much against the cap. That second year is not guaranteed, so I would expect them to probably move on after next year, but they add another bench piece there in New Orleans.
All right, folks, make sure you are subscribed here. Get us to 125K. That is our goal. 123-581. That is the number we're aiming. That's where we're at right now. Get us to 125K. Crazy how high we've gone up there.
Yeah, I think we get to 125. I think the goal should be by the end of the day. Let's get to 125K. That number has been skyrocketing throughout free agency.
Still got over 2,000 of you guys watching, so I think you guys can hook us up here. Get us to 125K. Now, we'll put this on loop in case you guys missed anything. That's okay. We know people are working on all that. And if anything else comes out breaking news-wise, Danny Green or at some point Kawhi, we know, we'll cut back in with the breaking news. In the meantime, we'll take you through all those news and rumors here on Loop. Bojan and Boban. So great start to this one here. Boban Marjanovic.
Boban. Tom is on the struggle.
Bojan wow, I botched that so hard there. I just merged Bojan and Boban. So great start to this one here. Bojan Marjanovic. Boban.
Tom is on the struggle bus. I'm going to take over here. Boban Marjanovic and the Dallas Mavericks have agreed to a deal. 2 years, $7 million appears to be the contract there. So they've got a new sitter in Dallas as Tom cannot get past this. Hey,
taking the L right now, guys.
Type T in the chat to make fun of Tom right now for how much of a disaster that was a second ago. But yes, Dallas has a backup center in Boban. You okay there, buddy?
Boban Marjanovic.
It's okay. It happens.
I'm sorry, guys. That's a